Do. Hey everybody, welcome to Lorebeards 40K. Alexis got me going with her little musical interlude there. There's actually a term for that kind of music, but it might get us demonetized, so I'm not going to use it.
What the hell is the term? Now I want to know.
Look up. There's a song from the 90s. It's all about this. But anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to Lorebeards 40K. And we are here today to talk about some interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about the Drukari.
No, witch cults.
Witch cults?
Witch cults. Which ones, though?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, everybody. I'm Ross Swanson. I'm a game designer and author. I've worked on a whole bunch of games for Warhammer 40K, including most of the role-playing games, some video games. I was on the US White Dwarf team for a couple of years. And that's why I know so much about Games Workshop and 40K.
Heck yeah. My name is Norn Queen Alexis. I go by Alexis. I'm a Viking reenactor. I'm a gamer. I paint miniatures for a living. And overall, I decided to make this entire 40K thing a part of my personality.
She has a 9,000 point army of demons. Is that right? 8,000
It's actually more than that. It was 9. It was 8,000 points battle ready, which means there were nothing more than triplicates.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
But
that's
I have
a lot of
7
demons.
Keepers of Secrets that are the big ones, and then I have several smaller ones.
Ah, yes. Well, I think the Slanesh's number is not 7 though. Slanesh's number
it's 6.
It's 6.
Which is why I need 18, obviously.
Or
it's got to be divisible by 6.
Or donate one of them so you get down to 6.
Whoa. Slanesh is not about giving things away.
I mean, depending. But we're not here to talk about Slanesh. Although, god dang, that's a really, like, every time we bring up something, I'm like, man, we should talk about that. That'd be a really good show.
Although I do have something cool to tell you. So we're getting close to the end of the edition, end of 10th edition, which is a big thing in the community. A lot of people are super excited. I do actually have all of the Forge World Greater Demons for Slanesh. But we're getting to the end of the edition, and that means everyone wants to, for some reason, play Apocalypse games. They're always super popular at the end of the edition. And I was telling Ross this off camera, and it was really funny. Because I'm like one of the only people that you can go, I want to challenge you to a 10,000 point game. And I just look at you and go, oh, what army do you want to face? And then I go,
that's a
painted
flex
or unpainted.
That is a serious flex, Alexis, to be like, which army?
Tomorrow, I am doing a Imperial Guard or Ashramel Tarm game versus Death Guard. And I am bringing, let me just count this really quickly. 3, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 tanks.
Just 26, that's all?
Yeah, that's just 26.
That's great. I have
there's a reason I can't afford things.
Sebastian Miller says, Alexis, how much money did you spend? Too much.
Now, I will explain this though. The reasons that I have a lot of armies and everything was because when I was doing YouTubing professionally, it was a tax write-off for me because it was all part of the channel. And I also was working at a game store, so I got things at 40% the price. 40% off the price. So it was very easy for me to get a lot of 40K stuff. And there's a little bit of recast in there every now and then, or 3D prints, but not a lot. I don't like 3D prints too much. And that's a perfect thing, just because the models shatter like glass.
Back in the day, I used to work at the Games Workshop headquarters in Glen Burnie. This is when I was on the White Dwarf team. And the employee discount was 60% off of like anything off the shelf, but it was also bits by weight.
Oh, I'm jealous of that.
So you could go in where they had the casting molds for all the metal miniatures and just like scoop it into a bag and take the bag, and they'd weigh the bag, and they'd give you a price based on the weight of the metal, just the raw weight. I got a whole the old Grey Knights, not the plastic Grey Knights, but the old metal Grey Knights. I had a giant army of those guys that I bought for like $50 because it was all just weight.
Ross, if you ever go back in time, scoop up the demons.
Well, yeah, that was 23 years ago. So a lot of models you would want did not exist.
I mean, I like the original Chaos Demons. I have a whole bunch of the spindly bloodletters. You remember the ones with the huge hunchbacks that held their swords like this?
I do remember those guys, yeah.
Oh, very silly, and I love them.
So one other thing you might have missed recently, I know we're going to talk about the witches, I promise. But one other thing I just want to get out of the way, I did start streaming this week, and I started streaming Baldur's Gate 3. I was playing a paladin, and within an hour, I had already broken my oath.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, no, how did this happen? Oh, God.
Just immediately breaking your oath.
So
and that's on stream, right?
It is. It's on stream. It's recorded. It's on my page. So check me out later for more Baldur's Gate. It appears I am playing the worst possible paladin in Baldur's Gate. So
are you gonna try to get Minthara with you?
Okay, it's my first playthrough. I have no idea who that is. So probably. I'm just gonna say probably.
Okay. If you see a drow woman that sounds like Celestine, knock her out. That's all I'm saying. Don't kill her.
No promises. This is the worst paladin. But all right. So we're going to talk about the witches, and to talk about the witches, we need to talk about the Drukari.
And to talk about the Drukari, we have to talk about the Eldar, which means we need to talk about the War in Heaven.
Oh God, no! Please, it's like we have a whole episode on the War in Heaven. We talked about the War in Heaven for like 3 hours. But if you would like to give a brief description of the Eldari, I would be all in favor of that.
A brief description of the Eldari. Okay. All right. So imagine twinks that really like death metal.
Okay. I think you're gonna have to go a little further in depth to that.
Okay. I'm joking. So the Drukari are, in their own opinion, from their point of view, are the truest form of Eldari. Which, if you haven't noticed when we talk about the Eldar, all of them believe that they are the truest form of Eldar because they're all pompous and all jerks. But the Drukari are the hedonistic Eldar, and they're closer to the thing that created Slaanesh than any of the other Eldar. They have figured out that instead of using their psychic powers and gifts and everything like that, they repress them to the point where they can no longer use them, especially in Commorragh, which is a alternate dimension that they live in, which is within the webway, which is a series of tubes. And what they do is they torture and mutilate and capture and throw into slave pits and throw into entertainment, throw into the arenas, similar to gladiator fights. And this pain that they inflict on others revitalizes their souls, because at all times the Drukari soul is being eaten by Slaanesh. And because of that, they have like a soul juice meter. And if their soul juice meter goes too low, they are, well, dead. And their soul is just obliterated, which, kind of sucks. So they developed ways around that by torturing people to revitalize their souls, which also makes Slaanesh notice them, which makes their soul drain quicker. Not the best system, but it's a system that they got. And then they'll talk to things called homunculuses. Homunculuses are exactly what they sound like. They are weird homunculated creatures. They're usually fused with multiple creatures. They'll take aspects from other creatures that they like if they want gills, they'll get gills, wings, they'll get wings. Tails are very common amongst them. They're very much incredibly different to the regular Drukari. They're mutilistic, and they will clone your body for you and keep it as a backup body so that they can put your soul into when your physical body dies. And then, if all of that goes through, you go around the galaxy constantly raiding. You're never. They actually do Viking, which is really funny. They're the closest things to Vikings that we got, because Vikings are just raiders. They go into the Materium. They go to usually undefended planets are their favorites, or planets where they can torture the population. So they'll go to mostly undefended worlds or worlds without too much defense. Go there, torture all the people, capture a whole bunch of them, bring them into Commorragh, and then proceed to do their shows and everything, and turn them into grotesques on occasion, which is not a fun thing. It's like when you and your buddy get really, really close and they get mutated into a horrific monster that's powered by venom from Batman, not venom from Spider-Man, and then you're unleashed upon the universe.
Wow.
A lot to go through with Drukari.
That's a lot. I'm gonna start a little earlier. I'm gonna say
Oh,
Eldar.
you started with the War in Heaven.
No, God, no. What about Second War in Heaven? So the Eldari are basically space elves. They are beautiful, lithe, graceful, and they once ruled the galaxy, and then they kind of hedonistic themselves. They debauched themselves into creating a new chaos god, which was Slaanesh. And when this happened, their empire fell apart. One portion
that counts as a tactical oopsie daisy. They're allowed one.
they NSFW'd themselves into a galactic collapse that created a chaos god and a whole bunch of other horrible things. But in the aftermath of the fall of the Eldar, is what that event is called, the remaining Eldar, or Eldari, split into a number of different factions. One of these factions became known as the Drukari. They gooned too close to the sun, says Godzilla Rex. Yeah, that's a way to think about it. All right, so the Drukari are the also called the Dark Eldar. They are twisted and piratical descendants of the ancient Eldari. They refused to flee the collapse of their empire, and instead they settled in the Webway, where they founded the nightmare city of Commoragh. And the Commoragh is basically their home base. It's not really a planet. It's almost like its own little universe. Like there's little captive suns that they have down there, and it borders on other dimensions and things like that. Commoragh is weird and wild and awesome. I kind of love it.
Yeah. And every now and then they come out and just steal a sun. So that's just a thing they could do.
The Drukari, their souls are slowly being devoured by Slaanesh, the chaos god that they accidentally created. So to stave off the fate of being devoured, they themselves feed on the pain, fear, and negative emotions of their victims through raids and torture, and especially for today, gladiatorial games.
Do you think that there's a cult that just is a bunch of Reddit mods that just torture Reddit mods? Like all they do is just shit post. Feeds them.
Maybe.
Or it's like that one what is it? That one show where they have the energy vampire. I can't remember the name of that show. It had
what we
it's
do
like
in
a
the shadows?
mockumentary.
Yeah, what we do in the shadows, yeah.
that's a good Drukari.
So Commorragh is split between three groups. It's split between the Cabals, which are these noble houses of Drukari that have their own wealth and influence and power. There's the Homunculi, which is what Alexis was talking about. These are the twisted scientists of the Dark City, and they're very twisted. And then the last group is the one we're going to talk about today, the witch cults. The witch cults are elite gladiator warriors, and the entire social order of Commorragh is a hierarchy of cruelty, deception, and power plays. That's the main stuff you need to know. So the Drukari in general are kind of beautiful, hyper intelligent, and utterly sadistic creatures who are sustained only by the agony of others. As long as you keep that in mind, you now know who the Drukari are. Now, let's talk about the witch cults.
Witch cults?
Yes, witch cults.
Which one?
Exactly. So Commorragh is a gigantic city. It's hidden deep within the webway. It's carved from it's simply so vast and warped that it almost forms its own little universe. Like I said, it is a sprawling vertical hellscape of spheres and shadows and shifting tunnels hovering between real space and the warp, because the webway is a series of tubes that travel through the warp but are not of the warp. The warp is contained outside of them. It was a creation of the old ones, who were the oldest known species in the galaxy.
It always comes back to them.
Comes back to the war in heaven.
Yep.
And the Eldari in general inherited the webway from the old ones, and they are the primary users, and they know the webway better than anybody else, basically. So the Harlequins, particularly, the Harlequins are another faction of Eldari who know the webway even better than everyone else. So Commorragh is lit by stolen suns. These are called Ilmaya. They are blackened, dying stars that are dragged into pockets of the webway and used as both power sources and as permanent skylights. Like they give off this like.
I mean, they have to be used for heat as well, right?
The webway seems to be remarkably comfortable. It seems like the thermostat is like always set to 70.
That's pretty nice, actually.
Like I have the feeling I've never read anything about the webway where it was cold or warm. It was always just like, we're in the webway and it's just the webway.
That's very weird.
Well, it's built by the old ones and it's bordering on the warp. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff in the webway.
Yeah, true.
So the city doesn't really ever sleep because it has these suns that give off a blood red light, basically. The anarchy is the norm for Commorragh. The Cabals, the witch cults, Reavers, which is another group of Eldar, they're always building and carving out their own domains. Civil war and terrorism are just everyday politics in Commorragh. It is a Byzantine realm of scheming and ambition and bloodlust.
And no, we're not talking about the U.S. political scape.
I mean, we kind of are, but we kind of are. So the witch cults are the gladiatorial engine of the city. They are just below the Cabals. The Cabals are kind of the highest rank of social strata in the city. The witch cults are right under them, and they are kind of a self-governing organization of gladiators. They're centered on things called grand arenas, which are it's exactly what it sounds like. It's big places to have gladiatorial fights. And the members of the witch cults are called Hecatari, or more commonly, witches. Witches with a Y. Like Madison is Madison, but with a Y, not where you think. Witches have a Y where the I would normally be. They're definitely an outgrowth, or a representation, I should say, of the witch elves from Warhammer Fantasy. Because when you talk about the dark elves of Warhammer Fantasy, and you're like looking at the Dark Eldar as kind of a mirror of that, the witches are the mirror of the witch elves.
It's actually really cool. They remind me a lot of like the Kitterai, which the Kitterai are in 40K as well. Like just flat out. It's really cool that they're there.
You might need to expand on that a little bit. Who are the Kitterai?
So the Kitterai in AOS are bat-like people that follow the best girl in the galaxy, which is Morathi. They're like demon-looking women that have wings, and they're just really cool. And then Drukari actually have a unit that utilizes them called the Scourges. They're not witches, but they're still really cool. I just wanted to mention them.
Scourges are cool. Hey, we've got a membership, Rush 21129. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being a member for 3 months. Did 3D witches have mandrake dogs? That was the lore. Dogs? Mandrake dogs? Chimera is, I think, what you're thinking of, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember mandrake dogs, because mandrakes are very, very interesting because of their lore, but their lore is never really expanded.
We need to do an episode on mandrakes because they're very interesting. That is true.
Yeah, half demon Eldar,
right?
Possibly,
or half something else. We're not sure.
Yeah.
But about the witch cults. The witch cults, they basically serve two masters. First of all, they serve the Drukari populace because they feed them with nightly carnage in the arenas. And if they didn't have these arenas, the population of Commorragh would probably tear the city apart in frenzy, in some sort of random frenzy of bloodlust, because they like it. So
Do you
the
think
witches
they play Blood Bowl in Commorragh?
is certainly a version of it, I would say.
Right? They
Yeah.
have to.
Almost certainly a version of it. The other master that the witch cults serve is the Cabals, because the Cabals want elite shock assault troops, and that's what witches are. They're very, very good for raiding anybody. You bring along a bunch of witches. They already have their own nets, usually studded with blades. They're called shard nets.
They're monstrous. We're going to talk about them in a bit.
Every witch cult has its own arena, and the arenas are kind of a symbol of the cult's wealth, of the cult's status, and even of their cruelty. You can tell a lot about a witch cult by looking at their arena.
These ones are not very cruel. There's not even broken glass on the ground.
This is just Thunderdome. What's going on here?
Oh, this one is very cruel. They have Legos on the ground.
Oof.
And then there's one sitting there just with a bunch of D4s on the ground. Oh yeah.
Caltrops indeed. The
Have you
arenas
ever stepped on a metal D4?
Not a metal one, no, thank God.
Oh my God, it is. Oh,
the pain.
It's brutal.
The pain. The arenas are often described as architectural, I can speak English, masterpieces, compared to quote unquote primitive arenas of lesser species. The arenas have vast multi-level galleries, exotic materials, and even moving sections for dynamic staging. So it's almost like Coachella, but with blood sports.
Yeah, yeah.
like one of those, ginormous stadium productions that they do for different singers, with moving sections and all that. Just imagine that, but for blood sports. Gary Garrianson says Marathi's 40K version is Big E. I disagree with that.
But if not, then who? So I don't think Morathi would be the Emperor as a good thing, a good parallel. But she would definitely be a very, very strong Eldari. She might even rival like the avatar of Cain in the setting. Not the god avatar of Cain. Actually, maybe even the god, if we go by the god Morathi versus the standard witch Morathi.
Yeah, standard witch. So like Morathi from Total War. I don't know if there is an equivalent in the 40K setting for her.
No, because she's not as strong as like Eldred, but she's very powerful.
It's an interesting question. I don't know if I could answer that.
Yeah, that's a really hard question. Also, people saying Sigmar is the Big E. No, it's Nagash. It's a death cult. It's got to be Nagash.
Okay. One of the most well-known arenas is called the Crucible. It's one of the Dark City's greatest spectacles. It has a laser grid as part of it built in.
So it's Tron.
Well, it's for the Reaver jet bikes, so I kind of imagine. I mean, it is a little bit Tron.
Yeah, you're seeing it now, right?
Now I can't unsee it. It has a laser grid. It has jewel-like galleries, is what it says accordingly. Most of the upper class Drukari, the Cabals, the nobles, they like to attend these games at the arenas as their primary form of entertainment, and also their primary form of keeping their soul topped up, because they can drink in the psychic residue of the victim's agony while lounging in galleries high above the kill floor. It's very Spartacus, which I
it is very Spartacus.
I enjoy that quite a bit.
It's also very weird that the Drukari are the raiders, but also gladiators. It's like they looked at Rome and were just like, what if we took the Celts and the Romans and just threw them into one faction? Yes.
5 foot 7874. Thank you so much, sir, for the super chat. Big E is the equivalent to Be'lakor. He's always failing.
Okay, all right. I'm not going to go on my giant rant that the Emperor actually succeeded.
Why not? You know what? Go for it. I'm here. I'll listen.
All right.
Let's do it.
Ross, you know that the theory that the Eldar came up with is that if the Emperor wins, he eventually falls to chaos, and chaos eventually wins. But if Horus wins, he renounces chaos, but ultimately the Empire collapses.
Is this the theory of the Cabal during the Horus Heresy?
Yes.
Okay, I think their theory is a little bit different.
It's way more nuanced, but it's kind of that.
Okay.
But the Emperor, seeing all of the paths better than the Eldar, found a path that works for humanity. It's that he has to become a god, which he does talk about in the this Siege series, where he has to cast off and try not to become a god because he becomes so immensely powerful. He had to throw off his humanity, which was why he could kill his son, his favored son, which must have been super awkward for everyone else that was there. Like, I have to cast this off to kill him. Weren't you about to kill Angron? Yeah, well, he could eat shit.
So I've got a summary of what the Cabal's plan was, if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so they're through prophecy and deep time calculation, the Cabal said that it basically is going to boil down to two different timelines. Mm-hmm. There's the Imperium. If the Imperium wins the Horus Heresy, the Cabal was like, okay, that means the Emperor is wounded. The galaxy is then going to go through 10,000 years of war, and chaos is going to grow stronger and gradually devour all life.
Mm-hmm.
And then option 2 was that Horus would win, kill the Emperor, claim the galaxy in the name of chaos, but the last remnant of his old honorable self would lead to intense guilt and self-hatred. And that means Horus would self-destruct, annihilating his own traitor forces and much of the chaos power base, essentially burning human life out and killing chaos by removing the main fuel source, which would enable non-human life in the galaxy to thrive. And they saw option 2 as the better version of this.
Well, yeah, because they're Eldar. But the Emperor found a different path that won out of both of those. He found a way to remain immortal, but he had to sacrifice his physical form in order to do so. He gave up at the end of the Horus Heresy so that Horus would renounce the chaos powers so that he could strike him down, destroying Horus, saving humanity for the most part, and making it so that chaos couldn't get as strong as it needed to be to overthrow the entire universe, because he's still there as the beacon that keeps them at bay.
It's worth noting that Eldrad thought their plan was deeply flawed.
Yes. The only good guy in the galaxy was just like, guys.
There are no good guys in 40K, but Eldrad comes close.
That is my theory about it, is that the Emperor found a way to still become a god, regather his lost shards of his soul, and eventually he might get up until the Grey Knights, put him back down in the chair. Yeah.
I love this rant. I'm glad that you got to do it. Do you feel better? You got it?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I feel way better.
I'm glad to hear it.
When we actually do a sit-down episode and talk about the Emperor,
we're going to.
Oh,
we're going to. The Emperor's on the list. So the witches, the witch cults. Get back to the witch cults. The scale of sorry. Let me get back to this. What we were talking about was the arenas, and people are okay. Now I'm back. Okay. So the witch arenas, they're not just primitive blood sports. These are choreographed, sadistic performances with brutal, fast-paced combat. The witches typically fight each other, and they also fight captive slaves. They fight Xenos monsters, even special guests, quote unquote, like orc war bosses, or space marines, or even tyrannid specimens, which we're seeing in this image that we've brought up on the screen right now. You can see Eldar witches doing battle with looks like a lictor. Yeah, looks like lictors and maybe some gaunts.
Now, everyone, I want you to remember the famous quote from Captain Titus in Space Marine 2, that lictors hunt alone. It's such a dumb quote. I don't know why they gave him that line. They don't.
They typically, I mean, they can and they typically do hunt like alone, but they will also fight alongside everybody else just when, you know, when the needs must. So the defeated or broken foes become permanent attractions. They get put into zoos, or they get installed into torture apparatuses,
Made into couches.
Apparati? The plural of apparatus.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
apparatuses.
I'm going to go with apparati. Even though I'm
going with apparatuses.
Fair enough. You're probably right.
No, I'm not.
And then, or they become props. They become part of the arena, like a little, almost like an animatronic that you can just poke this guy's body that's stuck in the wall. You'd be like, ah, and he'll say the thing. You know, that kind of a bit.
One of my favorite things is in the Rogue Trader game when you save Ulvar.
Spoilers.
Whose name is just Wolf, by the way. What an imaginative name. But when you save him, they kept him for months. Like I forget exactly how long, but they kept him for a very long time, and they wouldn't kill him. They would get him very close and then put him back and be like, yeah, we'll do that again next week.
Rush 21129 says, I love the Lictor and Devastation of Bale. Yeah, that is a very good depiction of a Lictor. Really enjoyed that one. Apparatuses. Cool. Appreciate you guys. Okay.
Thank you, Biofoot.
So in the arena shows, the scale of the carnage is so great that the spectators feel satiated. They are glowing with the psychic energy given off from the suffering of the victims. And it's carefully calibrated to keep the city's anarchy dampened rather than unleashed. It's like a safety valve that the gladiatorial arenas are.
God, wow. That's sick.
Isn't it? It's terrible, but it's also kind of awesome.
It's like bizarrely, okay, it's weirdly dark for 40K. Like 40K has a lot of dark avenues once you start looking at the lore. Like, hey, there are 4 ways to become a door in 40K. None of them are good. And that's not a joke, by the way, that there are 4 different factions that'll turn you into a door. The Imperium, well, Space Marines, the Mechanicus, the Arbites, and Drukari.
Wait, are you talking about like servitors who open doors or servitors who control the door? Okay.
Yes. They'll turn you into a goddamn doorbell. And you'll be doing that for thousands of years.
Funnily enough, I was exposed to this at a very young age because the Warp Graphics did a comic book called ElfQuest back then. If anybody's a fan of ElfQuest from the 80s, let me know. Anyway, in ElfQuest, there's a character called Door who is literally formed into a door. So this is something I encountered very early in my childhood. Anyway, the scale of the carnage is so great that I already mentioned that part.
Hang on, we do have a super chat real quick.
We do. The Exiled One. What would it take to hire a witch group to attack an enemy of yours?
Okay, there are 2 ways to look at this. One, how if we were in a position of power within the 40K universe, how we would do it. And then there's a lore explanation that I could give you that actually did happen. And which one do you want to go with first, Ross? The lore explanation or one that we come up with?
Do lore first and then come up with one.
Okay, so there was an Inquisitor who did make a deal with a witch group, and basically the offer was, I cannot remember where this came from. I think it came from one of the omnibuses of short stories for the Inquisition. I can't remember what those series are called. Inferno, the Inferno books. But in there, a Radical Ordo Xenos Inquisitor hires a witch group to kill a bunch of people. And in exchange, she gave them a penal world, but said that they would attack them in a week. So they had free reign over billions of enslaved prisoners for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one lore explanation that has happened. But Ross, how would you do it? Like, you're a rogue trader.
Well, the explanation here is a bit convoluted, so I'm going to try and explain this. Witch cults, they demand money, status, and something, like a show worth staging, a fight worth fighting, so something that it gets their blood going, right? So who you are matters more than what you offer, because your access and your status are important in Commorragh. The witch cults are kind of like guilds. They only really deal with the cabals, which are the archons and the very wealthy. They deal with Xenos merchants or powerful renegades, people who can protect the cult's access and reputation. Okay. If you are not one of those people, you have to go through the cabals or a homunculus as an intermediary to sponsor your contract. And the contracts, they're not just contracts either. And by the way, you probably need to have some standing in the Dark City. Like, you need to have like existing ties to a cabal or a slave caravan.
One hell of an offer.
Or one hell of an offer. Without that,
they can't just take.
Without that stuff, the cult has no reason to even let you near the arena. Typically, witches are paid in slaves and prisoners. So a contract is usually paid in live captives: humans, space marines, orcs, tyranids, chaos cultists, anything that can be paraded in the arena or used in raids. A high-profile target, like a space marine chaplain or an inquisitor or a Xenos warlord, those are especially valuable. So you could perhaps promise them some really interesting prey, is one way to do it. However, they will also accept payment in the form of drugs, because
they do love their combat stims.
Combat drugs are a big deal. Alchemicals, biomaterials, anything that can augment their fighting ability. This can include, if you're in with the homunculi, this can include grafting weapons or even extra limbs onto the body.
By the way, homunculuses will do that for humans.
I mean,
you can make a deal with them to get like extra lungs, hearts, turn into like a bigger, stronger human. They can do all of that. And they have done it in the past, but there's a big caveat to it where it's like, to deal with them is difficult.
Would not recommend that kind of bargain. So in that frame, there are biological samples that you could give them, like biosamples from tyranids or chaos tainted flesh or psyker brains. Anything that they could barter to the homunculi would be valuable to them.
Funny enough, psyker brains can be made into a thing called like sight, I think it is, or something like that. A drug that gives you momentarily psychic powers, which then the Drukari won't use it, but they seek it as a means to trade with Corsairs.
And another thing you can bargain with is spectacle, okay? Because there is a performance value to the witches. They are artists of violence, the witches are, the witch cults. They're not just mercenaries. So you're not just hiring a bunch of people to go kill somebody. You're actually like putting on an event, like hopefully not like the fire festival, but you're putting on an event. And so the enemy to the witch cult is, they need an interesting enemy. So either like a strong, diverse foe, like an entire Astra Militarum regiment would be a strong and diverse foe, or a Xenos stronghold with multiple different castes of aliens, like a Tau group, battle group, or something like that, and or I should say, some sort of dramatic staging for the attack, like if you're doing it in a hive complex, or you're doing it at a fortress or a temple, or anything where you can create beautiful ruin for the witches, they're going to be down. That's the spectacle part that I think is important. And you also, it's important to say, you don't rent a witch cult for very long. They're here for a good time, not a long time. So you buy rights. If you're buying something, you're buying rights to like a specific raid, or at most a small series of raids, like maybe 2 or 3.
Okay, so that all being said, how is Rogue Trader Ross getting them to do something for him?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just getting started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See, you may even be required to provide auxiliaries. Reavers, Hellions, Scourges, or Cabal troops. Anything to keep the enemy pinned in one place while the witches do their duels would be probably useful. And they're going to want a lot of, like, if you give them a soft, poorly defended target, the succubus, who's the head of the witch cult, she's going to be like, okay, this is a practice run. We're just going to do this, like an exhibition match. But if the target is too dangerous, if you're like, hey, we're going after an entire Space Marine chapter, the witch cult is like, okay, we're going to need a lot. We're going to need a lot more for this. We're going to need serious rewards. So it's going to depend on who the target is in a lot of ways. And obviously, I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to say it. If you try to double cross or abandon the witch cults, or sabotage their staging, or make it less of a spectacle, the cult will probably ignore the contract and butcher you instead. So that's the thing. So, okay, Rogue Trader Ross is hiring a witch cult. All right. What's our target?
Well,
I can just come up with
what does Ross need to destroy?
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's say I am trying to set up a trade route through an area where orc freebooters are preying upon all the ships that go through there. So I want the orc freebooter captain, the war boss of the freebooter group in this area. I want him gone. So I promise the witches that they can have one hell of a fight if we can lure the orcs onto some sort of asteroid, or like a shipyard, an orc shipyard. That would be rad. So you find the location of the orc shipyard, which is a really interesting place to have a spectacle. You unleash the witches there, and you say, okay, and you can keep the war boss and all of his knobs if you want. So they get their slaves, they get their spectacle, they get a challenging fight without being overly tough.
Yeah, because I think, again, at the end of the day, them fighting orcs that are not ready for them.
So I think that's where I would go with that. As I promise them a lot of, and maybe a share of any weird drugs or things that are in my Rogue Trader hold. I'll throw in a few cases of friends on.
Yeah. So in this case, the witches are going to be attacking an unprepared enemy. Unlike a lot of factions in 40k, which try to challenge each other or open communication prior, Drukari don't have honor in any way, shape, or form. They'll just butcher you. You can call them out for an honorable fight in an arena.
That's like the one place it might actually work.
Yeah. And if you are a notable person, like a legendary Caiaphas Cain, he can challenge any witch that he wants because he has the notoriety to do so. But an orc war boss that's not really well known, nah, he's gone.
He fights who they send to fight. He doesn't get to pick his enemy.
Yeah. So I can actually, I really like that. I like the trade route idea. They get to take a whole bunch of orc boys, and then you get a whole bunch of like ship parts afterwards that might be able to be retrofitted to your vessels.
Yeah.
Like, weirdly enough, Space Marines typically don't do surprise attacks. As weird as it is, even though one of their main tactics is drop pod assault.
Well, it depends on the chapter.
It very much depends on the chapter, but a good chunk of them will announce themselves or will be detected because they're Space Marines. I find it funny that Drukari will just show up, kill everything, and then one of like 2 Eldari factions will just show up and kill everything. Well, actually, all 3 of them kind of do that.
We mentioned this in an earlier episode when we did an overview of the Eldari. And we mentioned, I think that back then we were saying that a lot of encounters between the Dark Eldar and the Imperium probably color all of the Imperium's viewpoints on the Eldar in general, because they can't tell the difference. We got another super chat from Gary.
Wait. I got to answer that. I only answered with lore.
Okay. Go back to this question.
Yeah. So. I need to hire a bunch of witches. Well, I am an inquisitor that is smart enough to stay back and stay hidden for the most part, but also trained well enough in swordsmanship, okay? Or swordswomanship in this case. I am going to probably promise them the head of something important, but knowing what kind of rogue trader I would actually be if I was a rogue trader in this case, I'd probably be trading them in a shit ton of narcotics. I would be trading them an entire shipload of it in exchange for them just clearing my paths. I'd be like, yeah, on this world here, we make all of this stuff. We need you defending it because you guys don't know how to make it.
Okay, so what you need to do is you need to introduce House Escher to the Witch Cabalts.
Yep. I would 100% be a House Escher, like a rogue trader or inquisitor type deal. Dealing in poisons and narcotics? Yes, please. All right, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, we got a super chat from Gary Garianson. Before I read this, I should say super chats are the best way to promote, to get more content for Lorebeards 40K, to keep the show going and to keep us going. So we are very grateful to everybody who does a super chat. Thank you very much. And they are literally the lifeblood that keeps, they are the witch cult contract that keeps us rating. So that's what I wanted to bring up. All right, Gary Ginson says, witches and Slaanesh, how do they manage not to fall for him? What is their trick? By the way, there is an unusual Slaaneshi falling in Requiem Infernal. Okay.
That book is absolutely fantastic. It is one of the best Sister of Battle books. Highly recommend it. It's a 5 out of 5.
So our local expert on Slaanesh happens to be Alexis. Why don't you tell Gary Garrison how the witch cults do not manage to fall to Slaanesh?
So, in a sense, they kind of already did, but they teeter that line very, very carefully. Also, Kovu sighting. What the witches do is they are constantly having their soul ripped out by Slaanesh, and it is the fear of Slaanesh that is keeping them away from it. But in doing so, they have to keep doing the acts that Slaanesh wants them to do in order to satiate Slaanesh and keep their souls intact. Because if they don't commit these acts, they will eventually be devoured anyway. Falling to Slaanesh is not the same as, I see Ricardo Andre saying, falling to Slaanesh is not the same as being touched by Slaanesh. It kind of is, though. No matter how you look at it, you are still touched. You are still in league with Slaanesh.
Well, yeah, let's be clear.
Careful line.
Yeah. So specifically Dark Eldar in general and witches in particular like to run the razor's edge. They like that feeling of thrill of dancing on the line between being who you are and being annihilated by Slaanesh. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But secondly, it's important to point out the Dark Eldar, the Drukari, they are not chaos corrupted. It's not like they're walking around as mutants and worshiping the chaos gods. They don't do that. But they are at best a pale reflection of the original Eldari Empire that did create Slaanesh. So they are very close without actually touching. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Alexis?
Yeah, and it only takes a few months of them of not torturing people to fall to Slaanesh. And we don't exactly know what happens when Eldar fall to Slaanesh because GW doesn't want to tell us.
Well, in the Drukari case, their soul is devoured. So
yeah,
just to be clear, it is death. It is a final death that there is no returning from if you go too long without doing torture and in sucking up agony and things like that.
And then there are two other things that are related to Slaanesh and Eldar, which are, well, the mandrakes, which we don't fully understand what they are because they're The running theory is that they are half demon Eldar. And the other one is the Crone Worlders, which might actually be like fully corrupted Eldar. But again, that's Eldari myths. We've never seen it actually happen.
True. So individual witches. Alexis, would you like
one more follow-up really quickly from Ricardo Andre, and I really like this one.
All right, Ricardo Andre says, the point being is that fallen to chaos is actively serving and being enslaved to it. Touched by it is minor corruption, but still being free of will and soul. Technically not the same. Okay, but I want to be clear one more time. Dark Eldar and witches are not chaos corrupted, nor do they worship chaos. They are as close as you can get to that line without going over. Yeah. But they do not go over, because to go over means to die. Your soul's devoured. Also,
you could be falsely worshiping Slaanesh without ever realizing it.
Which may be where Ricardo Andre's point is here.
Yeah. Case in point, the Soul Drinkers.
The Soul Drinkers?
They turned into giant spider demons, which are very closely tied. Yeah, but it's very closely tied to Slaanesh.
Spiders?
Yeah. Spider demons are Slaanesh.
I mean, it's more typically serpents, but all right.
Yeah. Also, weirdly enough, Slaanesh doesn't have a lot of tentacles.
No, but he has a lot of snakes and serpent infantry is very strong in Slaanesh. You blew my mind a little bit, because I don't think the Soul Drinkers fell to Slaanesh, but we will have to discuss that another time.
Well, we don't know which god they actually fell to.
It's, you know what? that is a big old can of worms.
Yeah.
I don't want to get
into it. Is just the chapter master, but there are also other Space Marine chapters that have fallen to the Chaos Gods,
right,
without actively serving them. Case in point, the Blood Ravens have also had members fall to Chaos.
True. Just about every chapter.
Yeah.
Just about every
bunch
chapter.
Of Ultramarines and the Heresy that fell to Chaos without ever actively serving Chaos.
Well, it's a slippery slope, I think, is probably the best takeaway from this. The chapter master of the Soul Drinkers is named Sarpedon, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
Sarpedon. And we've got Biofoot. Behold, a kitten. Good tidings to us all. Kovu has his own fan club.
He has been jumping back and forth, and he wants to lay in his box. He loves this Warhammer box. This is from 2nd edition Horus Heresy. This is Kovu's box. It has been on the couch ever since 2nd edition launched. Okay? That's his box.
That's a cat of culture.
And he gets mad when I use that box to take my armies somewhere. When I return home, he just sits there meowing at it until I take all the stuff out of it and put it on the couch again.
We in my friend's house, he has cats, and we call those cat traps. We call a box a cat trap. All right, so individual witches. Where do individual witches come from? Well, in life in Commorragh is hard. And
when a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, it takes them a very long time for the Eldar to create a child. And only Eldar that are trueborn can create a child. The others are cloned.
But there are a lot of low status, brutalized citizens in Commorragh looking for a way out, or at least a way up. And joining a witch cult is a chance, if you're lucky enough to be skilled and get the right fights in the arena, you can gain quite a bit of status in a short amount of time, which is unlike working with the homunculi or unlike working with the cabals. You could argue that the witch cults are pretty much the only true meritocracy in Commorragh.
Yeah.
So if you're a low status guy and you will probably die in many of the early duels as you're training as a witch, but the survivors, they get stronger, and some of them are of course reshaped by the homunculi's biomancy or by the drugs that the cult uses, until you have these hyper agile, psychically attuned killers, stone cold killers. Witch cults are some of the most ruthless beings in Commorragh, and that's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
They are led by what are called hecatrix, the mistresses at arms, And succubi or succubus are also the overall leader of a cult. They command them in the arenas. They maintain order amongst the witches, and they negotiate with the cabals. The archons are the leaders of the cabals, or the homunculi. So the succubi are the ones that do the negotiations for resources and prisoners and political favors, things like that.
Now,
And
Ross, are all the succubuses and all the witches women?
no, they're not. They are. It is a gender term. I agree, but the witch cults are in fact mixed gender. Typically, there are more women in the witch cults than men, but that has to do with the fact that their fighting styles are
Acrobatic.
They're acrobatic, and they're highly based on agility rather than pure strength. So it does lend itself to that. The witch cults, as we said before, they're kind of a pressure valve, but they're also a display of prestige for Commorragh, so that the cult's arenas, they burn brightly with violence while the city's elites can enjoy the show. And I mean, they're kind of like a combination of a gladiator and a rock star in that way.
Just like gladiators.
Well, even more rock star, because they're
So
I would argue that their status is even greater than like a typical gladiator.
So funny thing about Roman gladiators, a lot of them were actually like super important, like incredible athletes that they kept around as long as they could, and they tried to use non-lethal fighting as often as possible. And only when certain people would show up to events did they ever expect blood. And a lot of the times in those fights to the death, they would probably just not send in their most famous guy, or they'd have their most famous person like show up and be like, "Ha ha! This super weakened opponent I get to kill."
No, Roman gladiators were very expensive. They had to be trained, they had to be equipped, they had to be fed, they had to be kept in good shape.
They were still slaves, though.
True. And the Drukari are less interested in their slaves, in their gladiators' well-being. Unless you're a witch, which is again why people join the witch cults, because then you do get the more better treatment. With the idea is that you're a witch. Okay, yeah, you may have to fight in the gladiator pits, but you're the predator, not the prey. And that's the big difference. The reigning queen of the witch cults is who is this, Alexis?
That's
do you want to
Lelith
talk?
Hesperax, isn't it?
It is. You want to talk about her?
So Lelith Hesperax definitely won in her fight against Yvraine. Yvraine died. I'm just gonna say that right now. Yvraine did die. Lelith won. Lelith Hesperax is an insanely acrobatic, insanely fast witch. She wields a she wields a spear, right?
Nope. So
Which one is
Lelith is interesting because she wields a pair of just bog standard knives.
Yeah, she does the knives. Okay, yeah.
They're not power weapons. They're not envenomed. They're just knives. And she has become known as the queen of knives and the undisputed champion of Commorragh's arena because she's so freaking good with just two knives. She doesn't need all that other stuff.
I got her confused with the Eldar equivalent of her, Jenzar.
Yeah, Jane Sar. Yeah, she has the glaive.
Yeah.
She has a glaive and the glaive.
Yeah.
If anybody knows Crawl, you know what I'm talking about. Do we have a picture of Lelith?
Maybe.
All right. Well, I'll just keep talking about her a little bit.
I can find a picture of her in just a moment.
She leads a particular group called the Cult of Strife, which is the most renowned of the witch cults. Lelith is famed for her speed, her cruelty, and her artistry in close quarters combat. We could probably do a whole episode on her, and we probably will. So this is just kind of a general overview of Lelith.
Notable feats of Lelith, though, include 1v1ing a good chunk of chapter masters, winning. 1v1ing Yvraine, winning. 1v1ing a swarm lord and winning. Keep in mind, she uses knives.
Just regular knives.
Let's see if I can find an official artwork. That would be great. She has a lot of artwork.
She is the personal favorite of Asdrubal Vecht, who is the supreme overlord of Commorragh, which gives her enormous political and martial influence. It is rumored that she is occasionally one of his courtesans, although the novel Lelith Hesperax says that is merely wishful thinking. So, oh, we've got a big old super chat. Ricky Chapman coming in with a steel chair. In our campaign, our rogue trader has deals with Drukari, even managed to have 2 incubi bodyguards, which is a notable thing. We gave a culture was a drug made from the glands found in hive tyrant brains. Wow.
Ricky Chapman, that would do it.
Your RPG campaign sounds like just an incredible fever dream to be a part of, and you have a lot of them. I mean, this is I can't imagine you're doing this all in one campaign. This is like multiple campaigns, I have to assume. So many different things.
There has to be better artwork of Lelith. There can't be this like tiny artwork.
Lelith, she likes to use elaborate traps and choreographed brutality. She turns every fight into a theatrical performance designed to maximize fear and spectacle. There she is. Barely wearing anything at all in that image.
In all fairness, she's protecting her vital organs, her thighs.
She's, yeah.
I
yeah.
will say, when you are fast enough to dodge gunfire, armor does slow you down.
One thing she has that's really interesting is that she has very long hair, and at the ends of her hair, she's bound in all these little claw charms and talons and little blades. So as part of her dance, she can whip her hair around and cut a dozen throats.
Which doesn't make too much sense because, that would actually, pull against the hair. It would hook into the opponent. They're heavier than her hair and pull against her. It would rip the hair. Because hair is not strong. It's not bound or braided or anything.
She's a space elf.
That's all we need to say.
It's a wizard did it. It's 40K. Don't think too hard about it because otherwise you'll lose it.
Now, I will mention though that her armor or lack thereof is actually inspired by Roman gladiators. This is similar in a 40K sense to somewhat gladiatorial armor, where they didn't protect here. Yeah.
Well,
so
as a gladiatrix, her job is to create a spectacle, and part of that is the way she dresses. So
yeah. I mean, if the world permitted, this is how I would dress at all times.
She is so quick to move that they believe that she's been chemically altered by the homunculi to give her hyper adrenaline and inhuman reflexes. She wields close combat blades and treats her own body as a weapon. Her hair, her hands, and even her feet are laced with razors and hooks, which turns a simple caress into a killing move on the sands of the gladiatorial arenas. Ennead, when Ennead awoke, partially, it was an event called the Night of Revelations in Commorragh. Lelith ended up joining with the Ynnari, and she let Evrain borrow the Cult of Strife to fight in the Imperium Nihilus. She continues to hunt the galaxy's most finest duelists. She has a particular obsession with capturing Lucius the Eternal.
Yep.
Which is a Chaos Lord of the Emperor's Children. She wants him as as what she would say is the ultimate trophy.
Which is weird because Lucius the Eternal, for being the galaxy's greatest duelist, his power is to lose.
His power is to lose. It's weird.
And it's like, there are better swordsmen out there than him at the time where he was declared the best. Like Sigismund and Garrow were both there.
Yeah, Raldoron.
Abaddon.
Corswain
would demolish him.
Yeah. Lelith Hesperax, she's the living embodiment of the Drukari ethos. She's lethally beautiful, politically entangled, and forever dancing between the glory of the arena and the pursuit of ever more exquisite suffering. And that's why I wanted to bring her up and mention her in the context of this, because she is the uber witch, if you will, the witch of witches.
I gotta remove that really quickly so I can grab that picture that somebody posted in the Discord once I navigate this Discord. Boop. Boop. Let's get the older image of her. Somehow with more clothes on.
Yeah, I honestly prefer the other version.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm
The
not
new
not a
miniature
fan.
versus the older one, I prefer the older one because it actually looks like functional armor for somebody with a speed build.
Do we have pictures of the miniature?
No, not right this second. Hang on. Let me remove this so I can search really quickly.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. If I go to, I can't remember which one is the new one out of these two. Let's see. Oh, cool. I love when you give me a tiny, tiny picture. That's super useful. Actually, there's one with them two next to each other. That's even better. Boop. Oh, fuck off, Reddit. Useless. Can I just open this image in a new tab? Yes, I can. There we go. Okay. This is their 4th and 7th edition model.
Okay. Yeah. I like the one on the left better.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
It looks more like her artwork. This one looks way too armored.
Yeah, oddly
as
enough,
weird as that is to say.
I don't want to be that guy, but I do prefer the other one.
I want to be that woman and say that I want my speedy women half naked.
It's something about the stance, I think, on the one on the left. I just like it a little bit better. The older model.
Yeah.
So
it's more of a power stance.
So once you get past the witches and the Hecatari, see the Hecatari is the other name for the witches. Once you get past the witches and the Hecatrixes and the Succubi, Succubi also have a different name. Succubis are also called witch queens. Once you get past all of that, you still have your support cast. These are guys like Beastmasters, who are wardens of alien menageries. You got your toxin alchemists, your arena doctors, your cage slaves, or Xenos, who will be extra meat or maybe a star attraction, depending on how strong they are. Witch cults are typically self-governing, but they again they're only second only to the Cabal, so they're still very powerful, but they're typically very independent and self-sustaining. They don't really need a lot of whatever they need, they get from their contracts as mercenaries or as awards from powerful nobles in the arenas.
Oh yeah, and Clawhammer, you are correct. That model did come out in 9th.
So how do witches fight? They are close combat artists. They are not line infantry. They're usually doped up with alchemical cocktails. They're sometimes get the flesh weaving from the homunculi, so they get increased reflexes or can don't have to worry about too much about pain. They can sometimes heal minor wounds mid-fight with these things, with the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So they typically fight with almost superhuman speed and agility. Even
Eldar agility.
Right. Yeah, even Space Marines are like, damn, they're fast.
Yeah.
They fight with some pretty exotic weapons too, but go ahead.
Yes, they do. And it's I love their weapons so much. They're cool because they have a Qatar. And those of you that know what a Qatar is, you're a good person. I just wish they used chakrams also, but they don't. And that, if you're going to use a Qatar, use a chakram as well. But the Eldar fight in a hyper acrobatic fighting style, using a lot of flips and a lot of the environment to fight you as well. So they will bypass you and slash you with parts of their armor that are coated in poisons, neurotoxins, and a whole bunch of other plethora of things. Sometimes they'll even hit you with combat drugs in the middle of a fight to make you fight better because they want that thrill. Unfortunately, a lot of their drugs are not compatible with the human body and will make you fall over, have a seizure, and suffer to death.
Or explode.
Or suffer to death, then explode. But they fight very much like a Harlequin, as somebody just pointed out, but it's way more lethal, where a Harlequin will go for the kill or go for an agonizing death, a quick agonizing death, mind you. A witch will slash you as she passes, run through about 10 people, cutting each and every single one of them with like a paper cut, and then wait for them to suffer. And they'll continue fighting because they think they have to, because they don't think they died. the witch, fully knowing that they're all dead, will then just torture them endlessly until they finally just kick the bucket, stop moving, and suffer on the ground. It is brutality.
To add on to the hyper acrobatic style thing, so witches, they have raiders, which are these like skiff like anti-grav vehicles. They have venoms, which are even faster anti-grav vehicles with a little more armor and like a turret. They also have reaver jet bikes, which are bladed jet bikes that travel at very, very high speed. And there's the skyboards, which are a lot like the Green Goblin's little hover platform that he was on. And they will, in battle, witches will actually leap back and forth off of the skyboards, off of the reaver jet bikes, off of the raiders. They like to do a lot of kicking and slashing as they flow through the air. They will turn a charging mob into a stage for acrobatic slaughter. The whole purpose of this is shock, confusion, and even more humiliation. They don't just kill, they want to break your morale. They want to force you to accept, they want to force you to perform in a script that they have already written.
This is why I got confused with Jinzar having not Jinzar,
Hesperax.
Lelith Hesperax having a spear, because she steals the one in this image, which is an official image by Games Workshop that shows the Eldar fighting alongside, fighting the Drukari, fighting the Tau, and then this battle never had lore, and it annoys the piss out of me.
I would love to see a fight between Lelith and Jinzar. That would be serious.
Yeah, and this is an official Games Workshop image, and it bugs me that this didn't happen.
Weirdly enough, my money would be on Lelith in that fight.
Same.
As much as I love Jinzar, I'm like, I don't know. I think Lelith might have this one. So their weapons.
Only takes one hit for Lelith to kill her, because of all the poisons and everything.
Well, or the fact that she just knows where to put her knives. But
yeah,
let's talk about the witch weapons, shall we?
Witch weapons.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the witch weapons. They have razor flails, also called laceri. These are flexible, multi-tipped whips that slice from several directions at once.
Not to be confused with their whip swords. Those are slightly different.
That's right. They have venom blades. These are the ones that have the toxins and stuff in them. Paralytic, mind-bending, or agony-inducing poisons are part of the
I do want to talk about the blades really quickly. Their blades come in a plethora of different types, from axes to swords to pieces to knives to the actual blades that are on their body to blades that they keep hidden under their skin because they know homunculus is, to blades that they can keep like hidden beneath their clothing, which you don't notice until it's too late. Yeah, there's a lot of blades that they have. The average witch is carrying around like 6 or 7 knives. Good luck finding all of them. I didn't even do that joke. Damn
it. Well, they're carrying a lot of knives. So Drukari in general carry at least one knife, if not more, and witches carry even more. So like they are the most knife carryingest Eldari that you are going to find.
Mm-hmm.
They also have things called hydrae, which are wrist-mounted, rapid-firing weapons that shoot microblades. They're ideal for overwhelming an opponent's defense.
Yep.
And
then do you know where they aim with that? You know where they aim with that, right?
The eyes.
Yep. Vision slots of Space Marines. They will shoot into that. They'll shoot into their joints. They'll shoot into their necks. They'll shoot at the back of their legs, because all of these spots are exposed areas on the Space Marine power armor. They'll even use it to sever the power pack of the Space Marine and just cause catastrophic power loss for the power armor itself. Now, granted, that doesn't stop the Space Marine from fighting. It just means that the Space Marine suit can no longer be powered, so the Space Marine is lugging it and going even slower. And that slight slowness of a Space Marine that a normal human wouldn't be able to detect is enough for the dance to just go around them, constantly just hitting them.
And lastly, they have shock weapons, which are melee weapons that are charged with electricity that will surge through the target, burning and seizing muscles. Notice that all of these things are not necessarily deadly because they want you to suffer first, because the suffering is what feeds them.
We just got hit with an earthquake.
Did you?
Neat.
Wow.
Anyway.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's Iceland. Right? We get those all the time.
Okay. Did you want to say anything else about the witch's gear?
So there are several weapons in the witch's arsenal that I really want to talk about, because a lot of them are completely impractical weapons. In the hands of anybody else, they are completely impractical. The whip sword, for instance, is a sword that, if any of you have watched Bleach, you know what a whip sword is. But a
Soul
whip
Calibur.
sword, Soul Calibur also has one. They are completely impractical weapons that are actually terrible, and the closest real life weapon equivalent is the whip sword used by I believe India, which was a thinned out sword that you would lash people with. But if you could do that, you could just hit them with a sword, and that's just better. But the whip sword for the Drukari is actually a crazy weapon because they design it so that when it clashes with a weapon, it actually extends past and will hit them in a non-vital area. Because again, the Drukari the witches in this case, don't inherently want to kill you right away. They want you to suffer. They want you to be in pain and agony as long as possible. So they will use these weapons to go around you, wrap you, and sometimes they'll even leave you wrapped in the weapons. Then there's the shard nets, which is another piece of Eldari gear that is typically used alongside a spear or any other weapon, but
or a trident.
Yeah, or a trident, which is again very Roman. But the shard net is something that GW blatantly stole from the Predator. We're not even going to sugarcoat it. They took it from the Predator.
150%. Yeah.
The shard net is a razor-lined net that constantly contrasts, but it connects to itself as it pushes in. And it gives you an agonizing death as it goes around you and crushes you as it slices through your muscles, your bones, everything in between. Your armor can hold up for, if you're not in thick power armor, you're gonna die. If you're a Sister of Battle and more medium style power armor, you're still going to die to it. A light power armor, you basically do it, you're dead. Anything beyond that, you're crushed and killed. There are, and I want to talk about the Qatar because they're one of the only factions in all of fantasy that uses Qatars, and I love Qatars. So Qatars are a punch dagger. I am obsessed with this weapon because I've recently started using an axe in fighting, and I love fighting. It's one of my favorite things to do. And one of the fighting styles that I do with an axe is I keep it in my hand and I keep my shield close, and I literally box my opponent with both of them. A Qatar is a punch dagger that you punch with it, and it's such a cool weapon. And for it to be used with Eldari is absolutely awesome. It comes in three different varieties. Basic, in case like Lelith wants to use one, poisoned, or any plethora of the thing that they put on top of it to inflict agony upon the opponent. And then they have the third variety, which is powered, so that it can cave right through power armor by pushing it apart and going right into it and cutting at locations like your guts, for instance. They'll just cut your belly open and they'll just let it all spill out, and you'll just suffer there because you don't die immediately from that. And it's a horrible fate. Oh my god, I love it so much. They have Qatars. They also do have several throwing weapons, but they're not normally talked about too much, which is a shame because them using throwing weapons is really cool. They could have throwing knives. But the one that we do know about is similar to Genzar's weapon, where it's, again, the Predator's weapon. Go figure. It's a homing weapon that they throw at an enemy and it hits in a certain location. Typically, it is not a powered weapon, so it doesn't cut through armor, but it does, with Eldar, cut through people pretty well. Like, it'll cut through the soft part of power armor really easily and kill the Space Marine that it's thrown at.
The whip swords are the razor flails. That's what they're called. That's
okay.
And
I saw contradictory things then. I didn't
no,
really
it's fine.
check the
It's
source
absolutely
more.
fine. See, the thing is, in 40K, you can have a name for something. And it can actually be like a whole bunch of different stuff underneath it. Like if you think of the word chainsword, there are so many different varieties of chainswords. Anyway, so with the witch cults, they have the what they call Hecatari blade, which is that's their chainsword. Like it's all manner of knives and swords and blades and little things. You know, the tips of the things on Lelith's hair are probably Hecatari blades. There's the razor flails. We talked about the Hydra gauntlets, which fire the little crystal blades. There's the shard nets. We talked about those. There's also the impalers.
So this is their spear, right? So it's a spear. And if you guys don't know, spears are the best weapon, because if you could stab somebody from far away, it's better than getting up close to them.
The idea of the impaler, it's a spike like piercing weapon, and it's designed to pin someone in place for the audience's entertainnment. It's basically just like stay put, and they jab it's like putting a toothpick into one of your little Vienna sausages, right? You're just holding it in place with the impaler. They do carry what are called splinter pistols, which is the default sidearm. It fires crystalline splinters that are laced with potent neurotoxins. It's their bolt pistols. It's the bog standard sidearm.
Yeah, the bog standard sidearm is a weapon that shoots glass into your eyes that are coated in neurotoxins.
Yeah, I mean, it's as bad as it sounds.
Have fun.
They sometimes carry plasma grenades and haywire grenades. And they wear what are called witch suits, which is that bodysuit that you've been seeing in the images that Alexis is throwing up there. It is
called the brawn panties.
It is not particularly protective. Witch suits are really made for showmanship and agility rather than actual protection.
Now, all right. Now I'm going to do a cardinal sin. I'm going to defend it. I am going to defend it. As somebody who uses a speed build in my sport, I can't overpower most of my opponents. They're all Icelandic dudes. I can overpower a few of them, but I can't overpower most of them. Not all of my opponents are dudes. There's actually a lot of women in my sport as well, which is really cool. I'm talking about the Viking fighting. But when I'm fighting, I'm using a lot of speed and I'm using a lot of agility to dodge when I'm using my spear. So having something that actually restricts my movement, I'm doing this because I used to wear a breastplate that covered my breast, go figure, and my lower stomach. But as I was doing my jump backs with my spear, it was digging into my stomach. And over the course of a 3-hour practice, I was actually getting cut from using a chest guard. So I stopped using it, and now I just use a very padded bra to protect my chest and my sternum. So it's fine. Like, I understand the reason for wanting hyper athletic fighters wearing barely anything. We need to be able to move. That's it.
There is a particular power weapon that witches can wield called an agonizer. Do you want to talk about this?
Is that the one that just causes agonizing pain and suffering for hours? That's not different than any other of their weapons that cause agonizing pain and suffering for hours, but it's named the agonizer.
It's a highly sophisticated Drukari torture weapon, and it is designed to inflict unbearable pain and neurological overload on its victims. It's typically the most common forms of the agonizer are toxin-soaked whips or barbed flails.
Man, they must love the Sisters of Battle.
I bet
they trade.
I mean, show up with a bunch of Repentia and see who's going to win our fight.
The Mistress of Repentance whipping the girls, and then you just see the one Drukari. Well, hold on. What kind of whip is that? Oh, it's an electroshock whip that hooks into them and actually stays into them and then shocks them, and then we tear it out of them, causing agonizing pain. Oh, we have one of those. We use neurotoxins. Oh my God, girl, does it come in my color?
Agonizers overload a victim's nerves with bioelectrical feedback so that each hit feels like excruciating full body agony. The more complex the nervous system, the worse the pain. So larger or more intelligent creatures suffer even more. So so Ogren's not immune, but Ratlings, if like a particularly stupid Ratling, might be like, huh, okay, now what? Which is funny.
I'm just imagining an orc just running towards it. They whip him. He's just like, ha.
Some agonizers can make nearby people feel the shock secondhand, and they use these against vehicles, for example.
I mean, yeah, frying an electrical system on a vehicle is usually a good thing.
Beyond the physical damage, the agonizer is carefully calibrated to break the will and resistance of a foe, and it's often used in interrogation or crowd control in Commorragh's arenas or during raids.
Okay,
Lastly, it's a mark of an elite status. Witch, succubi, archons, and other high-tier Drukari wield it as both a practical tool and a demonstration of their cruelty and power. So if you see a Dark Eldar witch with an agonizer, they are a particularly high-ranking or influential or wealthy witch.
Be careful, that weapon causes agony. All our weapons cause agony, stupid.
Yeah, this one causes more agony. It's even more agonizing. It's the Dark Eldar, the Drukari are very much edgelords. They really like
yes, they
that
are.
is their whole thing. Do you want to talk about the individual cults?
I will admit I don't know enough about their cults. I have just looked at them and went, ooh, pretty. And then clapped my hands and went, Lelith is cute.
She has a pretty good book. I'll say that. If you want to know more, the Lelith Hesperax book is actually quite entertaining, and I did read it. So we have the Cult of Strife, which we've already talked about. They are the cult that Lelith Hesperax personally leads. They are regarded as the premier witch cult in Commorragh. They're famed for their speed, precision, and spectacular duels. Oh, that's an even better piece of art. Look at that.
Yeah, I've been grabbing artwork.
That's one with her spear. There you go. In the book, famously, one of the reasons why I talk about the knife so much is in the book, she famously talks about how she prefers just standard knives.
Mm-hmm. And then I got a few other pictures here too.
Those are witches. Oh, there's your razor flail right there. Yep.
Oh wait, nope. That's for later.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. You guys saw nothing.
We also have two other cults we can talk about. We have the Cult of the Cursed Blade, or also known as the Cult of the Red Grief. They have a reputation for that's a really good piece of art right there. I like that. See, you can see the blades in that. You can see you can see the razor flail in the one guy's hand. You can see the shard net and the impaler in the other witch. These are two witches fighting in an arena. If you look up high, you can see where the archons and other nobles are watching from on high.
Also, I do like that you can see that these are almost wraith constructs in the background.
I mean, they have a little bit of Wraithbone type.
Yeah.
It looks
like feel that. To it.
The feel, yeah. I doubt it's actually Wraithbone, but.
Oh, yeah. Or if it is, it's stolen.
Well, that's certainly possible. So the Cult of the Red Grief, their reputation is for immense internal cruelty and natural selection as their ideology for witches. They're said to be so afraid of the ground that the raiders barely touch it. Instead, shuttling that the witches that they prefer to shuttle between raiders, jet bikes, and skyboards in a complex aerial formation. It's kind of like Cirque du Soleil mixed with the ground is lava.
I was thinking like the Harlem Globetrotters for some reason.
It's like the floor is lava plus Cirque du Soleil. They emphasize treachery, betrayal, and trial by duel to purge weakness from their ranks.
Yeah.
And we have the Cult of the Seventh Woe.
Not the Six Woes. The Sixth Woe kind of sucked, but the seventh one really brought it around.
It tied it all together like that.
Yeah. Because you had the first Woe, then you had two Woe Too Furious, then you had Woe Tokyo Drift.
We had Joey Lawrence, then we had Neo, and they both woed until there was no more woe. Cult of the Seventh Woe, though, these guys prefer to fight aliens, specifically Tyranids.
Isn't everything an alien to them?
Well, witches fight each other. We've seen that in the artwork, and I mentioned in the one of the early six. But these guys prefer to fight.
Would be aliens to them.
They prefer to fight Tyranids. The Seventh Woe does. They were amongst the first to raid Tyranid infested worlds, and they returned with captured hive organisms and weapon beasts to fight in the arenas. Their cult keeps a vast and constantly restocked alien menagerie to stage elaborate dance of death displays where witches face hive tyrants or other multi-ton Tyranid horrors like Harridans or maybe even an
Hierophants.
Designed to maximize both violence and the awe of the audience. And I gotta be honest, watching witches fight does sound really awesome. I would want to do it from a very far, like an extreme distance.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right. And I have my telescope out like from 4 buildings away going, that's so cool. So these cults, they have their own methods.
I just want to add one thing about that specific cult.
Sure.
More than likely, they're the cult that accidentally started the Gene Stealer cult in Commorragh.
Most likely. And then they were like, hey, cool, more things to fight.
Yeah. How do we take care of all of these Drukari that are just laying around being bums? Oh, the Tyranids ate them. All right, that solves that problem. Should we worry about the Gene Stealer cult that's getting strong? We'll send the witches after it in a bit. Let them get stronger.
So the thing you need to keep in mind here about the witch cults is that for them, they each have their own methods and approach to the spectacle in the arena. Witch warfare is basically about theater and personal branding as much as it is about damage and casualties.
Wait, which war?
Yes.
Okay.
They are blood sport aristocracy in Commorragh. They are the they are the all-star quarterbacks. They are for real. Like,
you are correct.
Lelith Hesperax is like, John Elway or Peyton Manning. She is the
I recognize that name.
She is the most well-known, right? But there are plenty of witch cults that people are just as fanatical about in Commorragh as we are about our sports teams.
I guarantee you they have riots about it too.
Oh, probably.
Like, they have to. They absolutely have to. It has to be like a sports spectacle to them.
We were talking about how witches are faster than Space Marines, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are stories that witches will actually laugh as they fight Terminators because they're just so much faster than Space Marines and Terminator armor, which I think is hilarious.
It's actually really funny in the Hammer and Bolter animation where the Terminators do fight Drukari. The Terminators only win some of the fights because they're in a narrow corridor and they can just open fire.
Well, you can argue. I mean, I think some of our commenters have already pointed this out, like Ricardo Andre, that the witch cults rituals and their battles in the arena, they're kind of like a devotional aspect of Slaanesh, because it's definitely about excess, right? It's definitely about going too far. And the more refined the cruelty, the more delicious the psychic harvest is for
what do you think
the witches.
Tastes like?
Oh, I don't even want to imagine.
I bet it's like, okay, all right. This is gonna be a weird one, but the weird, like, okay, hang on. I bet it tastes like the old Pop-Tarts from the 90s, the swirl Pop-Tarts. I guarantee it tastes like that.
Oh my god, that's kind of stale, like, right?
Or a Gusher. Like, Gushers are amazing. Or a Warhead. It might taste like a Crybaby. Now I really want sour candy.
You know, I want to point out to everybody listening that Alexis has a Slaanesh tattoo. Her imagining what a soul tastes like is just, I mean, it's a little extra, but it's definitely in her wheelhouse.
I don't have a Slaanesh tattoo. What are you talking about?
At least one.
I have two.
So, witch cults exist at the intersection of millennial, and I don't mean like millennial generation, like the generation called millennial. I mean like millennial, like years, like thousands of years of sadism.
No, that still describes millennials.
So they exist at this intersection between sadism, avant-garde theater, and raid warfare. Like you said, they're actually are Vikings.
Yeah, they're the closest thing that we have in 40K to real Vikings.
Oh, super chat from Biofoot. I haven't had a fruit gusher in decades. He says.
Oh my god. Okay, so I introduced Icelandic people to gushers. I also tried something that blew my mind. White Monster and Skier taste really good together. Like, you pour Skier into White Monster, mix it, and it tastes amazing. It blew my mind.
So I'm going to just briefly go over some of the other witch cults that we know of. The cult of the Cursed Blade. Their specialty is treachery and internal natural selection using hidden weapons, traps, and betrayal to ensure only the strongest and most cunning survive.
Why the hell would you join that one?
I don't know.
There's just think about that for 2 seconds. We're known for treachery,
right?
Okay,
right.
Then I'm gonna go over there.
Right.
What? We're known for natural selection. We've already stabbed you 3 times.
Listen, Commorragh, the Dark City, is a really awful place. And again, one of the only ways to get any shred of control over your own life is to become a witch. So maybe it's like, yeah, this one sucks more than the others, but it's still a chance, which is more than I have if I stand around and do nothing here.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. There's the cult of the Blade Denied. Oh, Drazina Quaishin says, I will keep my Skier and my oats overnight. Thank you very much.
I'm telling you, plain Skier and White Monster, Icelandic people like it. And I tried it and it's good. And I hate that it's good. Victor hates that it's good. And I can get him to confirm that he's tried it and likes it. And Victor is as Icelandic as they come. He's built like an assault refrigerator.
There's the cult of the Blade Denied. The cult of the Blade Denied, they turn the enemy's strength and weapons against them, often staging.
They're probably the ones laughing at Terminators.
They probably are, because they like to stage duels where the witch is blindfolded or bound in some way, like they have a handicap, and then kill the foe with their own weapon.
So the only thing I'm imagining is you have this Terminator champion walk through the door. Like, let's go with Chaos Terminator champion. He's in like half cataphracty, half Indominus armor, because it's all like broken up and he had to steal a bunch of parts to make his Terminator armor work. In one hand, he has an auto cannon. In the other, he has his power claw. And he's just like, witch, I challenge thee. And the witch is just like, oh, hold on. This is great. Hang on.
Yeah, blindfolds himself.
Hold on. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, puts one arm behind their back.
I'm ready. And the Terminator is like, what?
Are you?
The dark gods give me strength. And she just runs up to them like, no, they don't. Jumps off the wall, jumps off his gun, and just sits on his head and stabs him in the eye.
Yeah, the cult of the Blade Denied, they like to clown on their opponents pretty hard.
Oh,
that's obvious.
He reaches up to try to grab like the Drukari, the witch, and she just slaps his hand down, so he stabs him in the eye. You jerk.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I gotta admit, like, that's the fight I would probably watch, like, want to see the most, is the Blade Denied fights, because those those are entertaining.
She like dives through his legs as he's opening fire. He hits like a Prometheum valve, blows himself up.
It's just Benny Hill music, right? That's all I can think of in my head is Benny Hill music as part of the fight. Then you've got the cult of the Bladed Hand. What do you think the specialty of the cult of the Bladed Hand is?
Guitars.
Okay,
I'm going punch daggers.
You'd actually be wrong. They prefer the artistry of the unarmed kill.
Then don't call yourself the Bladed Head. The Bladed Head is very clearly a punch dagger. See, they're the ones known for treachery. I'm calling that one. I'm gonna be like, you guys are lying. That is false advertising. I'm telling the Archon on you.
So the Bladed Hand, here's the thing about the Bladed Hand. They like to say that they are masters of the unarmed kill and the barehanded kills, but it is mentioned that they frequently blur the line by using hidden blades. So they like to cheat. Yes, we'll have a fight with just our bare hands, and meanwhile there's like 16 knives tucked into their glove.
Is it bad that I could think the only thing I'm thinking of is like, have you seen Invincible?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when Viltrumites start taking the fight seriously, they do this?
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining. They're just like, and then a knife just pops out.
There's the Cult of the Stilled Heart. What do you expect their specialty is?
I'm gonna guess probably neurotoxins or some kind of toxins.
Give the woman a cigar. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. They are all about mastery of poisons and venoms and paralytic elixirs.
Oh my god, could you imagine them and Escher's like in the same brewery? The Eschers are just looking over. Nah, it's not poisonous enough.
So this cult, they prefer to they want their victim's body to be left alive but helpless for maximum torment.
Fun.
Yeah. There's also go ahead.
In Warhammer 40K, I live by a very simple thing. If I'm going to make enemies with anybody that is evil, so everyone, I want Khorne to come after me. Anything aligned to Khorne. Because they're just going to kill you. Like, that's it. They're just going to be like, I am going to murder you because I'm a berserker. Or a corn dog is going to come after you. And then you laugh at it because it's basically a chihuahua. Or, you know, some frothing jackal is going to come running at you with his hand blades and cut you to pieces. And you know what? I'm going to die. And that's fine. I died. I don't want anything aligned to Slaanesh, Tzeentch, or Nurgle coming near me. I don't want Drukari coming near me. I wouldn't mind an Eldari because they'd probably just leave me alone. So as long as I don't mess with them. A Tau would probably like, I don't know, what is it? Lobotomize me and just leave me as a servant to them because that's what they do in the lore. You know, I would prefer death.
I love that you call a flesh hound a corn dog. It's hilarious to me.
When in the big game I played on Friday, when my flesh hound unit attacked the warlord titan, I imagined it like a chihuahua attacking somebody that's like 6'7", and they're just like, ah.
I will agree. If I'm faced at a crossroads and down one corridor is Nurgle, one corridor is Slaanesh, one corridor is Tzeentch, and one corridor is Khorne, I am charging down the Khorne hallway. And I'll be like, you know, let's go. I'll fight as hard as I can, but this is the cleanest death I'm gonna get.
It's really funny when you actually think about like the chaos pantheon in terms of evil. It's like Khorne is the least evil. It's like the god of blood and murder is the least of your worries.
I would say least or most. I don't know what the term is, but
least torturous.
Yeah, least torturous. There you go.
Yeah.
So there's one called the Cult of Murder. Just called the Cult of Murder. They have the most boring name. They are broadly.
What do you think they do?
They are broadly themed around the idea of murder as high art. These guys are the these are the auteur artists. They are the ones that like put galleries up in on Times Square and things like that. They're the Banksy of killing people.
Also, we have a comment here that I just want to read really quickly. Because Khorne in 40K is a betrayer.
Well, Karn is a betrayer, not Khorne.
No. I mean, Khorne in general will just kill you no matter what.
Well, he doesn't care. Famously, he does not care from where the blood flows, only that it flows.
He also has things that kill cowards. He has things that go after champions. He's not honorable in any way, shape, or form. You turn your back on Khorne, he's gonna stab you, he's gonna kill you.
Okay, so aspects of Khorne do include honor, but it is unlikely that you will encounter them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like Khorne champions that are space marines, you might have a pinch of honor, but they're known as frothing berserkers for a reason.
So yeah, the Cult of Murder, they do stuff, and they are the Yoko Onos of killing people. They do it with weird high art ways.
Really good reference.
It's my best thought I could come up with.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Cult of the Twisted Knife. These are the closest to frontline fighters. The Cult of the Twisted Knife, they prefer to fight in battle rather than in the arena. They want to do their cool trick moves in an actual fight with the highest stakes rather than the managed murder of an arena fight.
Okay, you said cool trick moves. The first thing I thought of is they run up to a space marine, like cut off his head, kick his body up in the air, and then do a kickflip with it.
Yeah, and then score a soccer goal with the head. Yeah, exactly. Lastly, we got Cult of the Withered Blade. The Cult of the Withered Blade, these are slave traders, and they are connected to the Cabal of the Splinter Talon and a place called the Nexus of Shadows, which is a slave trade region in Commorragh. They typically focus on perfection in battle, and they have a very highly stylized, controlled brutality. This sounds like something that was written by somebody who was tired of writing all the other cults and was like, I don't know, they trade in slaves and are kind of different, but not really.
They murder people like with agonizers.
Cult of the Withered Blade seems like the most try hard. Let's put it that way. I think Cult of the Withered Blade is the tryhards.
If anything, they should have just had a cult that actively, trades with others. Like that would make them unique. Like the Cult of the Twisted Knife should be the one that actively seeks out trade deals to get more slaves. That would make them very unique amongst all of their kin.
Let's build a witch cult. We could do it.
Yeah, we do the murder, and then they murder people with their weapons that cause agony.
I gotta admit, it's not high on my list of things to let's build, but if there's demand for it, I guess we could maybe give it a try.
They wear more clothes than normal. They wear a belt.
They disguise themselves as sisters of battle. I don't know.
Could you imagine? They just walk around, wear Repentia. Okay, that makes sense.
Right, everybody's like, cool. As long as the ears are hidden, whatever. Maybe they Princess Leia it up and they have like purity seals covering their ears.
Yeah, I still love that there is there's this one horrific mutilation that Drukari do to Eldar on occasion, where they turn them into humans by putting a thing on their head, and it's a joke on putting a beanie on. That's it. We need to disguise ourselves as humans. Done. Let's see.
So the Cult of the Flayed Hand, we don't know much about them except that they helped save Crafrold Ayenden.
It sounds like Cult of the Jazz Hands.
They narrowly survived. Yeah, it does sound like Cult of the Jazz. They narrowly survived High Fleet Kraken. They intervened not out of pity, but because they found Ayenden's forays into necromancy appealing and wanted to ensure that the craft world didn't die so they could keep the whole thing going with like, yes, put more souls in robots, please, which I think is funny.
It's also very weird how little necromancy is in 40K compared to like fantasy and AOS.
There's also a cult called the Cult of the Wrath Unbound. They took part in a raid on a planet called Durandus II. They joined with the Cabal of the Baleful Gaze. Durandus II, by the way, was an imperial industrial world. And the raiders crippled the infrastructure of the planet with sustained haywire bombs, which are kind of like EMP bombs. And then they targeted strikes on vital hubs to trap the surviving humans in the capital's Grand Templum district. And once they had everybody in one space, what do you expect they did next?
They murdered them.
They sure did. They sure did. In a prolonged systemic massacre with Drukari Beastmasters loosing savage Xenos, and the witches were hunting down the survivors. It took several solar days to kill every last person on Durandus 2, but they did. Now we talked about the seventh woe. The seventh woe, they like to grab Tyranids. Well, that means they fight a lot of high fleets and harvest Tyranids, which is very ironic because the Tyranids are harvesting them. It's like, oh yeah, well we're gonna harvest you instead, which I think is hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
In my very own Calixis sector, we have the Cult of the Twisted Knife. That's where they're from. Yes, I know we talked about them. It's there you go. The Cult of the Twisted Knife. They're from they get involved in the Calixis frontier quite a bit with surgical strikes on Imperial outposts. Typically, they try to overwhelm the defenders before they can mount any sort of coordinated defense and then leave the outpost empty because, you know what? They took everybody back to the arena to kill them.
So literally, they committed the act of Viking.
That is basically what it is. Yep.
They even came in their longboats to do it.
Well, they're raiders. Raiders are kind of like a longboat, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah, it's a super fast vessel that's open topped. That is a boat. I count it as a longship.
Would you like to discuss some of the most popular fan theories in headcanon?
Oh, I imagine there's quite a few. I believe one is about one being a Altarch.
A witch as an Altarch?
Yeah.
That's a theory I haven't heard. What? Please elaborate.
Oh, no, that was it. That Lelith Hesperax is the Altarch of the witches.
Oh.
Like that. That's the entire theory. It's just
okay.
She has perfected it so much and she is stuck so hard into that she is the Altarch of them.
So you're saying
Exarch?
Exarch.
Did I get those two? Yeah, Exarch. Sorry, I get those two mixed up.
So you're saying Lelith Hesperax has taken her obsession with fighting in the arenas to a level that is like a path of the Asuryani.
Yes.
And even more that she's trapped on that path and cannot find any way out.
Yes.
Like an Exarch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. That would apply to Lelith because Lelith is pretty much committed to that's what she does. And and she's the best at what she does. So
also it's kind of cool to see like Genzar, who's an Exarch of
Phoenix Lord
of the Howling Banshees, and then her being on the same level.
Right. And they are almost. I mean, again, I would put my money on Lelith in that fight.
So would I.
That is an interesting idea. Phoenix Lords are essentially demigods, and the fact that Lelith can duel one without too much concern that's a big deal. Do we have a comment you want to? Okay.
I do like this comment.
Rush 21129 says, "What are your path called? You think it's a performance path?"
It would be under the path of the performance.
Path of the artist, maybe, but path of the artist of death.
Yeah, it could be path of the showman or showwoman in this case.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be like that. Yeah,
or just path of the witch, or path of the gladiator.
I would go path of the witch is what I would call it.
Yeah,
and she is the Exarch of the path of the witch. That makes a perfect sense to me. 100%. And it's interesting to look at the witch cults as a path because unlike the Archons and the Cabals, unlike the Homunculi, they do seem to be locked into one particular approach to life. They don't seem to have any other outlet for what they do beyond being better at what they do. Constantly honing that blade. That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that before, but I guess looking at it through that lens, the witch cults are essentially aspect warriors, just not.
So,
I mean, well, they could even be related to Cain if you think about it, because the witch elves of Warhammer Fantasy are certainly they're related to Cain.
Yeah,
maybe they're being influenced by Cain. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like I view it as the opposite of the Banshee. But they both worship different aspects of Cain. It's just they follow the darker path of Cain and the less honorable path of Cain, where Howling Banshees, not exactly known for their honor, but are definitely more honorable than witches.
Well, they're the worst thing that a Howling Banshee is going to do to you is kill you, whereas the witches you will pray for death. So that's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that before. I think that's fascinating and a really, really good idea. We should get Gav Thorpe on and talk to and make sure to mention that, like, hey, is the witches, are they?
And then yell at him for his War in Heaven quote.
It'd be really fun to get Gav on the show.
We should.
One of the theories about the witches is that Commorragh is kind of a twisted entertainment empire, and that the witch arenas are basically an industry, a media industry. Basically, it's like people imagine that there are broadcast syndicates selling gladiator feeds to other Xenos and even Imperials willing to watch it, where the Drukari arrange premium viewing events for elite buyers.
This doesn't sound like a theory as much of this should just be in a Dark Heresy book.
Right? I also like the idea that
this sounds like something you would write for a Dark Heresy book.
It really does.
Like, if you told me you wrote that for Dark Heresy, I'd be like, oh, that's actually really cool. I'll add that to my campaigns.
Seems legit.
Like, nothing about that seems out of place, which is great for a theory.
Now you take that a little bit further, and the witch cults could even be regulated sports leagues with seasons and rivalries and drafts of slave warriors from different worlds. This is, when you said Blood Bowl, I was like, this is almost certainly right, because it's very close.
Oh my god, the secret god of the Commorraghs is Nuffle.
Maybe.
Although I will still argue that Nuffle is the strongest chaos entity.
Okay, well, Blood Bowl is a very separate thing. So
exactly. It's so powerful that it created a separate galaxy without the warp.
Well, there you go. I think we do need a Blood Bowl for 40K, and this is where I would start, is with witches.
We need to do Blood Bowl on April Fool's Day.
Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Yep. Another speculative bit of fan theories and headcanon is that the officially named cults are just the public face of a much larger network. The headcanon here is that the witch cults are just a front, and that there is hidden black markets where stronger, more unstable witches and succubi fight in unregulated private games for the most sadistic elites. And they believe that there are cages built inside homunculus laboratories where witches and grotesques duel as live experiments, blurring the line between arena and surgery.
While I think that one is cool, that kind of says that there are some that are stronger than Lelith. And Lelith wouldn't let that happen.
Exactly.
Exactly. Keep in mind, when your Vrain, who bragged about being on top, challenged Lelith killed her. And then partially awoken a god doing so.
Yeah. And then Lelith allied herself with the Vrain.
For a bit, yeah.
For a bit. So another popular idea is that Lelith is a influencer who manipulates the Drukari mood by curating trauma like a producer.
Run, don't walk to the gladiator arenas. Here you can see our fabulous witches. The service absolutely out of this world. I had my first fight with the Swarm Lord. Let me say, absolute gentleman.
5 stars, would swarm again.
I give this a 10 out of 10. Look at my nails. Because you got to do that in every influencer video.
Oh my god, right? Another one that I really like is that the witch cults are actually a form of therapy. It's a way for the Drukari to channel their own self-destructive impulses. And so the cults are more like a mental health system for them. that the arenas are kind of state sanctioned. We know that in the lore that the arenas are state sanctioned pressure valves for the Drukari elite.
Okay.
But if that's true, then that makes the witch cults kind of like therapists who can cure or break people through their trials.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Because I hate that this actually holds water. So, as you know, I Viking fight. I do the fighting. I get injured. I have massive injuries because I don't wear protective gear, and I probably should. But actually, this one slipped past my elbow guard. But I can tell you that after a really good fight, like I'm telling you, like the average actual sparring match, like between two people, is only about 10 seconds. That's it. It's not this epic, like back and forth with all these different swings and everything. It's usually ting, 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 there's an opening kill. That's it. But if you get a solid minute-long fight or longer, you are having the time of your life. You are not mad. You are not annoyed. Nothing like that is happening. You're just in the zone, going with the flow, having the time of your life. I do this because this is how I actually fight with my sword and board. I keep my board next to me so I can, move around it. But anyway, it is a form of therapy. I fully agree with that. I love it. It has made me more comfortable here than anything else has. So
I think that's great.
10 out of 10. I give that one a 10 out of 10. That's a true theory.
One of the other ones is that the arenas can be souped up with some extremely high technology, because Eldar in general have very high technology, and the Dark Eldar.
One.
That's right, and the Dark Eldar can of course steal technology from other people to even get even weirder stuff. So there's a theory that there's arenas out there in Commorragh that have illusions, holograms, and virtual reality games to put a victim into a simulated hell indistinguishable from the real thing.
They just make them live through our timeline.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I would, if my headcanon, like, I would love to see like the all-star championships of the witch arena, which would be the top witches against the strongest, probably strongest space marines and strongest aspect warriors and strongest chaos lords and strongest battle suits and strongest necrons, and see what that looks like. I think that'd be wild.
Weirdly enough, we both know a character that we really like that went through the Colosseums and lived.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereal Stern.
That's right.
But granted, she was Super Saiyan at the time, but she did it.
Ethereal Stern.
She did it without her armor on.
Well, Stern breaks a lot of rules. It's fair to say.
Yeah.
Ethereal Stern is essentially a saint, but not quite a saint, but definitely saint. Yeah, she's a radical saint. That's exactly what her title is. So yeah, she's got a lot of power. She's Saint Celestine, of course, would just be like, okay, cool, and fight as long as she can, and then die and be like, bye, see you later, if she reincarnates somewhere else.
Yeah. Or she'd just get right back up like she did in fucking what was it? There was a Greyfax book where she took a demon, put it into her, possessed herself, ordered a custodian to kill her, and the custodian was like, hey, look, I don't believe that you're a living saint, and this is kind of weird. And then Katarina Greyfax is standing there like, no, do it. She's actually a saint, and I hate that this is true. And so he impales her with his spear, and it cuts her heart and all of this, because the spear is gigantic, kills her instantly. And he's just like, okay, well, that strike would have killed anybody. Even a Primarch would have trouble surviving that. And then Golden Light appeared and Celestine got back up, and he's just like, okay, hold on. No, that's not
unfair.
No. Ow. I think that's in that's not Mark of Faith. That's I have the book somewhere. I also have an audiobook of it. Like, I actually bought the disc for it. Oh my god, why can't I remember the name of the book?
Can you imagine a Necron overlord, and with that the warrior here that lets him rebuild himself a lot, fighting Celestine, and they're both just like, okay, you killed me, great, I'm getting back up. Oh, you killed me, okay, well, I'm getting back up. just constant regeneration there.
Trazine versus Celestine would be really fun.
It'd be wild.
Pokeball, go! I captured Celestine. She gets out.
Wait a minute.
How?
Some of the weirder headcanon is that the arenas are like a sadistic ad network, and that each succubus brands her witches in such a way to attract specific elite clients, and then markets her top witch profiles across the webway. Like, a perfect witch performance is not just a show of skill, but it's also an advertisement for the cult services. Even the homunculized upgrades that they've incorporated into their bodies are like, check out this cool thing I can do because I have so-and-so's implants.
This is another thing that gladiators did.
Right, exactly.
Like, the gladiator weapons were marked by certain artisans, and they were promoting them. They literally walked out with, like, sponsored gear. By the way, Rome was extremely colorful. I know Ross knows this, but I'm telling you guys in the audience, Rome was extremely colorful. There were billboards everywhere. It looked more like Las Vegas than it did what we imagine it as, just white marble everywhere.
There's even a theory, and this is a strange theory.
Yes. Oh my God.
Our martyred lady.
Yes, this one. It's great. I love it, and I love you. You're great.
Professor Shapp is one of our best. We appreciate you, Professor Shapp. There's a shout out to you, buddy. One of the other ones I thought that was really interesting is that the death cult assassins in the Imperium are actually trying to intentionally or unintentionally influenced by people who have seen witch duels.
Yeah, I could see it.
And that they are trying to imitate what they've seen. Go ahead.
So, okay, hear me out. You know it's going to be dumb stuff when I say that. So Malcador is the one that created the assassins. Malcador also created the Inquisition and the Grey Knights. Okay? We know this. This is all true stuff. Okay? Malcador was one of the people buying the videos and was like, oh man, these are awesome.
So you're saying Malcador had a collection of Girls Gone Wild DVDs and it's all just Lelith Hesperax?
Well, no, I mean the actual battles themselves. I imagine like him and the Emperor just sitting there watching it, and the Emperor's like trying to be all stoic and everything, and he's like, the one he's voting on is losing, and then she wins at the last second, and the Emperor just goes, yes, and then tries to remain stoic. And Malcador's like throwing his popcorn and everything, like, ah, damn it. I'm also imagining on the other side of the galaxy, Gosgul, or another time, Gosgul's watching it too. And Makari's like, yes, I won. And he just gets smashed. And he's like, all right, bring in another Makari.
All right. So serious question here. We know that the Emperor's throne room has a entry into the webway, whether that's a dolmen gate or it's just a regular webway gate.
Oh my God, they actually went there and watched.
So my question is, did the Emperor visit Commorragh?
Oh. Okay, all right, hold on. So, okay.
I blew your mind, didn't I? You're just like, oh my God.
So Psykers aren't allowed in Commorragh, but the Emperor is so powerful that he can stand next to blanks and be totally fine. In fact, he can stand next to thousands of blanks and be totally fine. He can hide his psychic powers from those that can detect it. He does this in the books where he discovers his children, because a lot of them have psychic powers. Psykers can tend to track each other pretty easily. I could imagine either him or Malcador have been there. I can see it. Well, I can definitely see it.
We know for sure that the Emperor has walked in the webway. We know that. That is
yes.
That is direct lore. And we know he's blazed some trails through it. So I'm going to say possible. It is absolutely possible. I'm going to say unlikely, but I'm going to say possible.
He goes there with his favorite witch jersey on and his foam finger.
His foam finger. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, well,
like, is this the best idea, my lord? And he's just like, it's fine. I left the avatar of me on the golden throne. It's cool. Let's go.
So here's the thing about the timing, though. If the Emperor did go to Commorragh, it was almost certainly before the fall of the Eldar.
Yeah, it would have been. It
Almost,
definitely would have been.
Almost certainly. Like there's like a 99% chance it was before.
Yeah.
Because he was very busy after the fall of the Eldar. He was extremely busy after the fall of the Eldar. Although, okay, this opens up a even more hilarious side. This is a very hilarious and jokey thing, but what if the Webway project was just the Emperor wanting to go back and do more witch watching? It's like I gotta go support my team. Let's open up this the gate.
We do have a super chat real quick.
Yes, Ricardo Andre, thank you so much. My debate partner. I love this guy. He says there's a quote from your brain saying the gods could have been reborn in mortal avatars. Do you think Lelith could be an avatar of the god of the Eldari or a muse?
I don't want to say no because I love the idea, but I don't think Games Workshop is brave enough to do it.
Well, Lelith is arguably she is the most exceptional Drukari to exist. I mean, there's Azrael Vect, of course, and there's Dreshar, who's also amazing. But Lelith is I would argue even more unique than they are. So if she is a reborn goddess, which goddess? Because Fate and Prophecy is Morai Hag, right?
Yeah.
Then there's Lelith, who's the maiden. Well, she's the goddess of dreams and fate and fortune.
I mean, if we're going to go by what GW normally does, the naming convention, it would be that one.
Yeah. Oh, Lilith and Lilith.
Yeah.
That's a really dark version of Lilith, but dreams, fate, and fortune could line up very well with fame and turning murder into an art form. That's a really interesting idea. So Lilith and Lilith. A maiden aspect of the people. Lelith could represent the maiden of the Drukari or the maiden of the original Eldari Empire, if you want to put it that way. That would cast a certain shadow over the gods of the Eldari, though, because it would make them much darker than their Warhammer Fantasy counterparts in some ways. Although, isn't Lilith the one that in Warhammer Fantasy pretended to be Lady of the Lake? So interesting.
Idea. All I know is just completely unrelated but related to Bretonnians is that my Amazon team has a bunch of Bretonnian fans that cheer in the crowds going for the ladies.
So there's also Anathrema. And Anathrema was the passionate huntress, the goddess of war and desire. That does line up.
That lines up way more
with Hesperax. More than Lilith, but I find Lilith a fascinating spin on her particular aspects. So I would say if Hesperax is an avatar of a god, my picks are Anathrema or Lilith.
Yeah, I think it's more likely the other one, but Lilith sounds like the naming convention in Games Workshop is not subtle at all.
You think? They have a guy called Tic Tac Toe.
And Teeny Weeny.
Right.
But yeah, I like this question.
Ricardo Andre thinks deeply about this stuff, and he often tries to draw connections that sometimes I don't agree with, but I'm always like, that's a really interesting take. This is a spin that I did not see coming, and yet I find fascinating. So I think probably my biggest takeaway is actually going to be from Ricardo Andre saying that maybe she's an avatar of one of those two gods. That's pretty cool. Ricardo Andre is also the guy who pointed out that the Eldar, that the Eldars are kind of going through the stages of grief. That the different factions of the Eldar represent different stages of grief over the fall, which I thought was also very deep and interesting as an idea. That's fascinating. Wow.
Yeah, that caught me off guard too. That's a good one.
Yeah, I would argue that Hesperax is more of a maiden than a crone, and more of a huntress than either of those other two. So
yeah,
that's interesting. I like the idea for as a maiden aspect though, just because it's that seems to fit with Commorragh culture. But I don't know if there's enough known about. Well, we need to get Vera on because she knows a lot about Ananthrema, and we could have a conversation about that. We're gonna have Vera on. We're hoping to have Vera on next Wednesday, by the way, to talk about the power of faith. So please join us. Please join us on Wednesday. We're going to try and get Vera to join us, and we're going to do a deep dive into the metaphysical aspects of how faith works in the grim darkness of the far future. So
I'm
there you go.
I'm excited for that one because we get to talk about going Super Saiyan in 40K.
So
and some of the crazier feats like Celestine flying faster than light.
If you guys have any thoughts on whether the Emperor has been to Commorragh or not, please put it into the chat because I would like to read it.
Oh my god. When Erda and the Emperor were dating, that was their favorite dating location.
Is there a kiss cam in the arena? Did they zoom in? The Emperor and Erda are like, oh god, we're on the kiss cam.
I imagine that the Emperor would actually be like super bashful. Like he's like super in control and everything at almost all times. But then it's like kiss cam, and it's just like, I'm good.
Yeah. So if you want to think about that, or if you can think about a particular witch cult that we haven't covered, or one that you want to create your own that has a particular spin on the art of acrobatic murder, don't hesitate to join us. I should point out that witches are a particular unit type in the Drukari army, but they are also an overall group because we talked about the Reaver jet bikes. Reaver jet bikes are part of the witch cults. We talked about the
Beastmasters are also part of the witch cult, right?
Beastmasters, Hellions, which are the guys on the skyboards, are part of the witch cults. So they're not just like the individual guys. They're also there's other groups of witches that are part of Drukari culture. We haven't gotten too deep into the Hellions or the Reavers, though we could, because the Reavers are all about speed as part of their kills, which is, again, we mentioned them as part of our Wazdaka episode, right? It's like a fight between Reaver jet bikes and Wazdaka, if you remember, in Commorragh. So yeah, because Wazdaka is all about speed too.
And all about having one paragraph of lore.
Yeah, but if so, here's my question, Alexis. If you could homebrew a witch cult, what would their thing be?
It would definitely be trade routes. It would be establishing trade in the Imperium. Well, either in the Imperium with weirdly enough, with the kin of
the Votan.
Yeah, the Votan or the Tau. I think they could also trade with the Imperium as well, but their whole thing would be gathering as many things that they could sell as possible in the arenas, or they would be gathering as many opportunities to send others to go and raid them. So they would be trading in information and drugs. Like that would be their whole thing. They would do favors for information on planets that are unprotected, and they would sell that information in Commorragh.
I like the cult of the Laughing Guillotine. They are a political assassination cult, and they use their arena performance as a cover for executing internal Drukari rivals. So basically, the cult of the Laughing Guillotine, they invite you to the arena, and if you come to the arena, they will just kill one of you during the fight. If you do not accept their invitation, then their spectacle is their entire cult going to your home and taking everybody out of the home that's part of that political group.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
So they choreograph their assassinations in the way to maximize their public appeal.
Oh, this one.
Vespa says Eldrazor, Lord of the Blades, is the god of gladiators in Warhammer Fantasy. I think he fits a lot. Calais is a muse. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is a muse that could fit that. Calais. Muses. I presume muse is a specific term for Warhammer Fantasy because I'm not familiar with it. Eldrazor is also part of the Sithari. Have you thought about him? I have not thought about Eldrazor, but we do have Drazhar, who is the Lord of Blades. And
Yeah.
he's a character for the Drukari. So if anybody matches up, it's probably Drazhar. But
that's where I would throw them too. And Eldrazar, I would say it's Eldred. Because again, GW naming conventions.
It's not subtle. Well,
this guy is known for his serpentine blade work. Which chaos god do you think he'll fall to?
Gee, I wonder.
He slashes his opponents 6 times before they die. Which chaos god do you think he's gonna fall to?
So, final thoughts on the witch cults.
I think they're one of the more interesting aspects of the Drukari, where I will admit I don't find the Drukari that interesting outside of the witch cults. I think a lot of their politics are cool. I really like that. But I view them as edgy Corsairs, where the Corsairs are way cooler and way deeper, in my opinion. I mean, Commorragh just kind of reminds me of Jersey City with bad drivers. But that's about it.
So, funnily enough, I learned something every time we do these deep dives. Like when we did the deep dive on the Necrons, I had kind of known about the destroyer cults and the flare virus, but I didn't realize just how bad it was, right?
Or how sad it was.
So walking away from that Necrons episode, I was like, I learned something, and it made the Necrons more interesting to me. Like you, I have found the Dark Eldar to be the Drukari. I found them to be pretty boring. Like I'm not really that into them. I feel like Vect is a very like one note villain.
I think when Vect died in the Dawn of War series, that should have been the end of him.
Well, anyway, this all goes to the point of that I'm like you, I didn't see a lot of interesting things with the Drukari, but now having dived into this, I find the witch cults to be really interesting. And I wonder if we do a deep dive on the homunculi, that might change my mind about them, or if we do a deep dive on the Archons and the Cabals, that could change my mind about them.
I think me and you just really like pirates, raiders, and Vikings.
I mean, pirates are cool as hell.
And everything that we tend to focus on is just like, yeah, Corsairs are cool. Yeah, witches are cool. Yeah, freebooters are cool. Yeah, rogue traders are cool.
So, yeah, you make an interesting point that the Corsairs obviously are part of a liminal space between the Asuryani and the Drukari. They embody aspects of both. The Harlequins, of course, can travel back and forth between both. And the Harlequins, I mean, you have to assume that the Harlequins and the way that they fight with the flip belts and the acrobatics is not that dissimilar from a witch fighting, right? Yeah. In Hesperax's book, she fights against some Harlequins. And I'm like, there's definitely thematic elements that link them all together. I love the idea of Corsairs going to Commorragh and being part of Commorragh society, but also being able to go to Asuryani craft world to be part of that society. And I think witches are one of the things that maybe, possibly, you could see tagging along with Harlequins or Corsairs to a craft world and back. Whereas homunculi would not be. They can go places homunculi cannot go, right? And Cabalites and the Archons are probably not super welcome on craft worlds either. So
there is one more unit that I find super fascinating with the Drukari, and that is the homunculuses. I like that they just work with anybody that's willing to work with them. Like their interaction with Fabius Bile, absolutely amazing. Their interaction with the Rogue Trader in the Rogue Trader video game, amazing. I really like them. I think they're super cool. I love that they can, like, I love the idea that a rogue trader can go to one and get an augmetic, like, or gene spliced, like
or an
that's
extra
sick.
arm with a blade in it.
Yeah,
Why not? That could
or
happen.
multiple, or wings.
Got to be honest with you though. I think as a rogue trader like myself, the Drukari would be one of the last people I'd want to make a deal with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But say that you got a chaos mutation.
Yeah, cut
Like
it out of me, please.
you grew a tail. You're not going to an Imperial for that.
You're not, definitely. No. Yeah.
You can't trust anybody else in the Imperium.
Right. But you can sort of put some faith into the homunculi self-interests.
Yeah, so long as you have something good to offer them.
So what I'm saying is in the future, we will be having more Dark Eldar Drukari stuff that we are willing to talk about, like the homunculi. And you guys are welcome to vote on this because we have our we do our polls on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, our polls are on YouTube. We also have a Discord where you can go to and take part in the conversations there. We have a great community. And in fact, we're going to be showing off some minis from that community very, very shortly. So if you're curious about our Discord, I think Lord Vorn has already put up the link in the chat somewhere. And on top of that, if this deep dive into the grim darkness of the far future has tickled your fancy or given you a new insight into the Dark Eldar, please do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button so that you can spread the heresy to even more minds, and Lorebeards 40K can attain its true power. We appreciate you so much. Let's you want to look at some minis?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're starting off on a really good one. Look at that.
Nice.
This is insanely cool. I gotta make sure I get the who posted this. So this is just a Lord Marshal from Vester, or Nestor.
It's a Lord Marshal of the Solar Auxilia?
Solar Auxilia.
That's to say it's unfamiliar to me, so I'm like, it's got to be Solar Auxilia.
Yeah. What's really cool is it's one of the few models in the Solar Auxilia line that doesn't have a helmet on.
I noticed that. That's why I was like double checking, because I'm like, it looks like Auxilia, but maybe not. So first of all, great model, great sculpt. Second of all, great paint job. Well done.
Yeah, the paint job is absolutely fantastic. I'm reading what they said about it. They love the new plastic vehicles and infantry of the Auxilia, but the command miniature leaves much to be desired. I fully agree with this. The plastic commanders suck compared to the old resin ones, but then you have to work with old resin, and I fully get you on that. I love this miniature. My Lord Marshal is a little bit different. My Lord Marshal has the Thunderhammer and a needle pistol, because I really like the needle pistol for some reason. I just think it's a neat weapon. But I love the paint job on this. I love the gold. You did a fantastic job with that, where it doesn't overpower the miniature, and the red and green go really well with it. The face looks fantastic.
So fun, interesting bit for me is you can look between his legs there and see that the green is his coat. It's an overcoat that he's wearing a cloak over, which I find interesting. The shading on his thighs there, where you can see the material bunching towards his crotch, is well done. And yeah, I mean, the face looks amazing. So
I also love that there's aged hair on his head. Like you could see the gray.
I think I've said this before. You can paint my army anytime, Nestor Vasumbra. This also great base. Good work all overall.
Weirdly enough, I actually put all of my characters on one base size bigger. When it comes to Heresy is not as you necessarily need the perfect base size for everything. And I tend to make my characters stand out a little bit more with a bigger base. Just because this guy will stand out, no question. But I always find when I have a command squad and I'm looking at them and they're attached to another squad and there's just 40 dudes in one squad. I'm just like, well, which one's my commander? So I always put them on a slightly bigger base, and that's how I do it.
Lord Marshals, by the way, they actually control entire expeditionary fleets, or can control entire expeditionary fleets in the Great Crusade, which is pretty amazing. Those guys, Lord Marshals are very high ranked in the Horus Heresy and command void ships. They command militias. They command Basically anything that's not Mechanicum or Space Marines, they command, which is pretty great.
They can also take command of militias.
I said
just
that.
full out. Oh yeah, sorry. But yeah, I love them. This is done by Raffi. This is a oh god, I forget the name of this miniature, but it's a Master of Possession, I believe. He's got his little helper with him. I always love this little helper. This little helper comes from the Terminator box set for the Terminator Sorcerer.
That's sweet. I love the tie, and he's mimicking the same angle as the staff, which is really, really cool.
It's really good. The green on green weirdly works with this miniature because you have a lighter shade of green and a darker shade of green. I might have put one color as a little darker than the other.
So these guys are demon-bound psychic casters. You can see the green flame in his hand, really well done. The staff itself with the skull on the tip is fantastic. A big fan of that. You see these guys in well, they're I think you find them in Heresy as well as 40K, right?
Yes, you do.
That's a firstborn. That's not a Primaris. Yeah, the green on his clothing, I feel like that's a little bit blending into the green of the flame, which I don't love, but it's still really good. It's a very, very good piece. Like if I had to say one criticism is that the green cloth and the green armor blends a little bit too well with the green flame, but that's it.
Can I ask you to grab that super chat because I have like 3 windows open?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. Hey, we've got a super chat from Stephen Lucas, 8836. He says, I do love that Warham's self-deprecating joke about an Eldar passing as human by just expecting everyone to call her ugly. The urge to kill is rising.
It really do be that.
Stephen Lucas, thank you so much. Oh, look at the back. That's nice.
Yeah, they posted several pictures. I just grabbed the ones that are the best in my opinion. And the back work on this is incredible. The hand sculpted deer skull on the back. I believe this is a deer skull. I really like it.
Okay, minor criticism. The grenade and the 2 pouches don't appear to be painted. They look just black from this picture. That may not be the case. I may be, but they do seem a little bit bland.
Yeah, I could see it. Now, if the cloak matched this color here, I think that would have been really cool. But I do like the way you did it. I really like it.
Yeah, it's to be clear, it's good. My comments were just like there's a few things you could adjust to make it even better, but it's very good.
Yeah. Oh, look at the little guy. Look, he's so little.
He's just a little guy. Look at him. He's so cute.
So I still think one of the funniest things is in the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, you could actually play as one of these things.
Can you really?
Yes. Well, maybe not a demonically possessed version of it. But you can play as like a spellcaster's familiar, and they can make you look as weird as they want.
Really? You can be a spellcaster familiar in 4th edition.
Yeah, I in our strike team games, which are our filler games when not all players show up, I play a familiar that wields a scythe, and it's a warrior of more. And I just think that's cool.
Interesting.
And then we get the front face. Like this one focuses really well on that helmet.
So the blue of the helmet, I think that's where I would take the armor. Is do a light blue on the armor.
Yeah, that would look really cool.
If you could sync up that helmet to the armor, that might help a little bit.
I do still love it. I think this is
great. It's great. I'm pointing out a few things where, apologies for anybody who's not familiar with the process of us looking at miniatures. Alexis is definitely the good cop. She really likes to point out all the stuff that she really likes. I am a former Golden Demon judge, and my theory is that people who are posting pictures here are looking for advice to improve it. They're looking for something. They're not just looking for validation. They're looking for like, what can I do to make this better?
For validation.
So I'm the guy. I'm kind of the bad cop of the miniature review because I like to tell you like, here's where you can maybe improve this. This is cool looking. This is a orc freebooter.
This is a freebooting war boss. This is Captain. This is their version of Captain Bloodflag from Dawn of War 2.
Nice. God, he looks great. Well done. Yep. Love the cutlass. Love the is that a snaz gun or def gun? What is that? That's so cool.
That is a super combi weapon.
So good. And the stripy pants. He looks like he came right out of an orc version of One Piece, and I dig it. I sincerely dig it.
God, there's 500 chapters explaining how he got his pants.
Okay, maybe he's coming out of the One Piece live action, which is a lot more abridged.
Yeah, there we go.
But it's so cool.
So there's little details here that I absolutely love. One, the highlight on the sight of the gun, or the telescope in this case, or the scope of this gun, and the highlight on the eye itself. This is incredibly well done. I really like this. I like that you got the buildup of sand on the boot itself. I love that this actually curves all the way down. This is really, really good.
Is this who's the painter on this one?
This is Moreau.
Bro, you are talented. This right here, this is win your local painting competition, and this is enter into like regional painting competitions. This is very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So here's another picture where we can see the combi weapon, which this is like a super combi weapon.
There's rad.
Rockets, a scorcher, like a Gatling gun. It's almost like a snaz gun attached to it. I love like this. The caution tubes. I love all the different ammunitions going into it. Probably don't actually function.
What you're describing are power cables that are painted in alternating yellow and black.
Yes, I'm glad you understood.
The caution tubes, yes.
Caution tubes.
I love it. No notes, bro. This is excellent.
Yeah. You even got what is this called? Nickeling on the gun, on the brass. And you got highlights on the freaking nails of this orc.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this is win your local and enter into a regional. Whoever painted this, I think you should be entering painting competitions at this point.
Yeah, I would put this in the conversion category.
Really good.
This is insane. Just look at it.
Oh, there's a regular orc for scale, and even look at that regular orc. Damn, the
regular orc looks amazing.
Bro, you're killing it.
This is really good.
Yeah, damn good.
This is 10 out of 10. This is amazing. So. Ross, have you ever had like a million points of guardsman or solo auxilia in this case?
Wow, look at all those purple tanks.
Just wait, it gets more.
Is this you? Is this your army?
Yeah. So this is, you can see all the dust on this thing because this thing barely gets played. But in first and second edition, you could have Legion specific Baneblades. And this is my Dark Angel's Baneblade. It has long since been retired. It has broken a million times. It is older than most of my collection, but it's still here. It's still functioning. It's still fighting for the Emperor.
Look at all those Emperor's Children tanks. My goodness.
So, yes, it actually is Emperor's Children tanks. So, my army is actually based on a slight paragraph from one of the Black Books, which is the Emperor's Children Sola Auxilia was fighting. This was before we actually got an official color scheme. And it bugged me because I already started painting all my tanks like this. And then we got an official color scheme. And I was like, I'm not repainting it. But there was a passage in the books about how the Emperor's Children, when they abandoned the battle, they left their Soul Auxilia just fighting everything. And the Soul Auxilia turned traitor against the Emperor's Children to start fighting everything. So, and that was it. That was the end of the passage. So I'm just like, well, they just kept fighting, and the Imperials didn't know that they were chaos, so they just took the Allies at this point. It was desperation. And then afterwards, it just continued.
Well, the Horus Heresy is full of a lot of confusion about who's on whose side. The Isfahan 5 drop site massacre is a great example of this. So, yeah, it's not unusual to come across descriptions of battles during the heresy of people going, I can't tell who's on what side.
And just opening fire.
Right.
So there's my Stormhammer. Just look at it. Look at it. There's 4 Arvis lighters.
Oh, those flying dumpsters.
I love them. Also, all of my sentinels and everything. I grabbed the field artillery guns. I grabbed all the heavy weapons I could. I love this army so much, and I hate that I can't play it in 3rd edition, so I still play 2nd edition with this army. It's a lot of fun. It's over 10,000 points in 10th edition, and I love it. There's a bunch of characters at the front too, but they're not important.
We need the Dragon Ball Z meme. It's over 9,000.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat. Super chat from Elemental Exposure. Are orcs good food for dark elves? On one hand, they are numerous and easy to grow because they're fungi, but on the other, they might not like to fight and torture too much. Well, orcs will love to fight. They're down for fighting, and orcs don't really feel pain as well. They do feel pain, but they don't. They're more resistant to it than a typical human. So I would imagine that the Dark Eldar, the Drukari, probably are fine with orcs. Like I imagine orcs are probably not that big again. They're like, it's I'm happy to have an orc. I'd rather have something better, but orcs are fine because orcs are tough. They probably put on a pretty good show, and they definitely enjoy the fighting part, not the torture part, but they do enjoy the fighting part.
Yeah.
Numerous and easy to grow makes them, I would imagine, less valuable than other slaves, possibly less valuable even than humans, because humans can provide some exquisite suffering.
So funny enough, we do know that guardsmen eat orcs.
Well, what's your answer to this question, Alexis? Do you think the orcs are good slaves for food?
Slaves for food, maybe. I mean, they probably do eat them.
I think he means he's got food in parentheses. I think he means the psychic energy from them. The sustaining of the soul.
So weirdly enough, maybe. It depends how the orcs' pain interacts with the Great Green versus the Eldar soul absorption of pain.
Do you think that maybe more orcs would be a better psychic reservoir to draw on? Like if they have a larger group, maybe?
Yeah, I think if they get bigger or smarter orcs or a lot of orcs, then yes. But a couple of orcs, like 5 knobs, is not going to do it.
Maybe that's why they have agonizers in the first place, is because the orcs are just too dumb and not especially vulnerable to pain. And they're like, we need to up our game a little bit. So they came out with the agonizers.
Yeah. But feeding on the orcs, yeah, I could see it.
Interesting idea. Thank you, Elemental Exposure. Appreciate you. Oh my God.
Commissar. I love this old Commissar. This is done by Valley. And if I get your names wrong, well, too bad. I'm going to get your names wrong. Try to correct me. Please and thank you. This is just a good-looking Commissar.
Great base.
I love the 5 o'clock shadow on the face. The yellow is all highlighted. Yellow is an extremely difficult color. The base looks really, really good. I love the skull. I love the road underneath it, like the partial road you can see.
Yep.
This is really good.
It's a classic for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Then we got Roth, who threw in some... Are these black orcs, or are these...
I think they're Oryx from Age of Sigmar, actually. I could be wrong.
Yes. I do think you need to touch up your green, unless you did this pink on purpose. Is it pink or is it flesh tone?
This feels work in progress to me. I don't know if this is finished.
Yeah, this feels very work in progress. I do like the flail type weapon here. That's pretty neat.
But is it possible these guys are trying to wear skin to kind of pretend to not be orcs, just to or scare people? Are they wearing human skin? Is that what the pink is, or is that something else?
Yeah, it looks like if it is supposed to be the base coat, it looks like something you dry brush over, and then it gets that nice pink undercoat that we saw in the other orcs. The rest of the model is painted really well. I like the armor and everything. I think that's really good. I'm stuck on what this pink is, because there's a lot of it. I'm curious.
I got to be honest. Like for me, this would be one that I would probably go ahead and use the varnish, not the varnish. Use the remover and maybe take them all the way back down to the plastic and then start over. because I feel like it just looks kind of muddy in terms of the colors and how the way the colors are connecting.
It's just the pink for me that's throwing me off here. Because like the back of it looks fine. It looks just like an orc. But they kind of look like they're trying to be trolls. Or do you remember back in the day when people would post mutants?
These would be interesting mutants for 40K for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do orcs, that's one thing. If you're trying to do some a mutant, that's a different thing entirely. I need some context. What are these guys trying to be? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to show?
Yeah. I didn't see a message too much aside from an Underworld warband for an upcoming 40K live for the upcoming 40K live stream. So I want to know, because I like the idea. I like the idea if they're trying to be human. That would be sick.
Iron Jaw Oryx, he says, is what they are.
Alrighty. Well, once we get more information, I think we can go back to those.
I'd like to get some context. Are these night goblins?
These are night goblins.
Well, or actually, no, they're also a warband from.
Yeah, they are a warband.
Yeah,
I do love the squig on a stick.
Squig on a stick is really
good. The poison blow dart fungus is amazing. The hammer. I like this. I like this a lot. Base work is done. It needs to be dry brushed a little bit. Basically, what I would do with this is take a lighter coat of everything that you used and just dry brush it.
Yeah, the green on the goblin hands and faces is great, but it needs some highlighting to take it to the next level. A really easy thing to do would be to dry brush the bases with a little bit of white or a little bit of gray to get some edging on the dark gray. That would really, really help. But overall, this is actually not bad. I like this. Rothian Fairmoon says, I'm trying to make different skin heat tones for green skins rather than a single color for all orcs.
So what I would suggest is okay. All right.
This is for the orcs, I think.
Yes. Weirdly enough, blue orcs look insanely cool, and you dry brush them white, and they look like some kind of weird Yeti creature, and they look amazing. I really am a big fan of blue orcs.
Blue is lucky.
Yeah. All right, moving on from these, we got this knight.
Whoa, look at that shield.
Lancer.
Look at the freehand on that shield. That's pretty nice.
Hellflayer says, a buddy of mine's work, it's fantastic. Well, I fully agree. It has a tree on it.
I see your buddy is a Critical Role fan who's enjoying some Tales of Exandria up there in the Mighty Nine. Manoculture, I see. I dig it.
I really like the shield work here. And we'll see the back banners in just a second.
That's beautiful. Look at the highlighting on the little generator in the center there. That's really nice. Well done. He's even got a highlight on the rim of the shield right there, it looks like.
Yes. One of my favorite things is the Night Lancer because of how creative people get with it. I absolutely love this miniature so much. Oh, Ricky Chapman.
Okay, I'll grab that super chat. Ricky Chapman says, the Knights painter plays in our campaign. We showed their character's model ages ago. He's a human leading a Xenos mercenary army. Okay, cool. Good to hear.
I love the use of the rhino on the base. There's mud on this base. This is a finished base. That is it looks like Mordian earth. So it is a technical paint on the ground.
The paint scheme on this thing is really nice. I dig it. The sword is very cool too.
The transfers are done extremely well.
Yeah, those are top tier transfers.
Yeah, I love the sword. Instead of having a lance, it has like a very long broadsword. It almost looks like.
Ricky Chapman, this reminds me of the Damascus blade used by Alita in Battle Angel.
Oh my god, I need to read that again. I got that manga in the other room.
Whoa, look at the banners on the back. Wow. You don't have to do that. That is going above and beyond. And look, he's got markers for all the legions he's fought beside, or chapters.
That's what I imagine this is. It's a mark for each of the legions that they fought with.
That's so cool.
I love this. And I
That is
love the pink
rad.
damage on the bottom
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
shows that the sword has been through it.
It's got like a little heat stress marks on it, which I really dig.
This is a 10 out of 10 mini for me. I
It's
really like this.
it's solid as hell. That's excellent.
Yeah. I love the foot placement. You did really well with the feet. This is incredible.
Yeah, very well
Moving
done.
on, we have this is by Hitman 1213. These are work in progress.
Okay. Well, they look good. That's definitely Blood Angels. I can see there's the purple guy over there on what is he doing?
He's just having a time of his life.
So I see a sanguinary priest with a jump pack, which is great. I see what looks like a sanguinary guard with a spear.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the sanguinary guard with the sanguinary priest, I should say, is a firstborn, it looks like. Whereas the sanguinary guard is a primaris.
These are all primaris. This one might not be.
I think he's got he definitely has a firstborn jump pack. And
yeah, he definitely has the firstborn.
I'm pretty sure that's a firstborn model, actually.
Yeah, I think this is the only firstborn. This is Corvus Corax converted.
Is it?
Yes, I recognize it because of defeat. He has the little claws in the half building.
Is that Corax or is that?
Oh, this might be Kievan Strike.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Kievan Strike. Sorry, my bad. I mixed those up. My bad.
He's got is that a Blood Angel totem on the back of his jump pack there?
Yeah, it is.
So that's a Death Company. Look at he's got the Saltier painted on his shoulder pad. So that's a Death Company Space Marine using Raven Guard bits. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's something I have not seen before.
I like the dual weapons. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe he says this is his custom chapter for Rush. Yes. This is Rush doing this. Okay. Interesting. Well, good job, Rush. Those look great.
All right.
Custom Blood Angels successor, maybe? Interesting.
Moving on, we got the
Bale Predator.
Ball Predator.
Yep. Seen that one before, I think.
Yeah, I think this is it's more work in progress. And then we get to see the characters again. Ooh, a fist and a sword.
Yeah, can you zoom in on the guy on the far left? Let's take a closer look at him. Interesting. Okay. What about the guy in the middle, the chaplain? Not chaplain. Nope. The one above him, the one with the axe.
This one.
Yeah, is that a company champion?
It honestly just looks like a Vanguard veteran.
It does, but he's giving off champion vibes. Then there's the guy
champion vibes.
The guy in all black to the right there is.
That might be a captain.
Definitely need some more highlights on that one, I think. The black is getting lost. But this is solid Blood Angels.
Yeah, I really like it.
I see that he's got the white background. He's using paper towels for it.
Hey, it works. It works.
Good job on you. Good on you.
And then we get to see the classic Ball Predator again.
That is. Look at man, that is so old school, bro. That is very old school. Yeah. You lost some exhaust pipes back there, and then the ones in the front are curved. That is. You can tell that's an old model.
This model is older than me.
It's probably not older than me, but it's definitely.
Right. So old. We got somebody just posted really quickly.
Oh.
So again, this is Hellflare, which is Hellflare Ricky Chapman?
I don't know. Ricky Chapman.
I always get the names confused.
Yeah, it's weird when you guys have multiple names. I can't keep track.
Yeah.
Look at the jerry cans. Love it.
I love that. I love the communications array behind it.
That's a Sentinel, is it not?
Yeah, this is the new Sentinel, the new armored Sentinel, which looks like a VW bus. And I absolutely love that. I think that's fantastic. I love the use of the kill team barricades.
That is cool. Well done on the base. The base is excellent.
Yep.
Big fan. Yeah, that looks really good, bro. Ooh.
I like that the paint looks like it's purposely worn in the front.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a texture there that's actually really neat.
So it looks like it's been through heat. You can see the cracking on the rocket over here. I believe these cracks and everything are intentional. If not, you just dumb lucked your way into making a really hard painting technique. But I do believe this is on purpose.
That's a damn good looking Sentinel.
Yeah, I really like it. Orange is very difficult color. It's not the most difficult, but it's still very difficult.
The last guy says is a Sword Brethren model counts as a Sanguinary Guard or company champion. So we were really close.
All right, and then the last picture of it, yeah. Look at all the damage on this thing, like the weathering and
wear and weathering is a lot harder to do than you think. That is an advanced technique, and I'll be honest, it's a technique I never mastered. My models always look like very clean, very like off the showroom floor, and I just kind of came to accept that was the best I could do because weathering I felt was like too advanced for me. So yeah, I admire someone who can do weathering very well.
I'm doing one final check in the Discord. That looks like it.
He says, "Oh, Ricky Chapman says that's our Penal Legion."
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Rad. We saw some really, really good miniatures this week. I think my favorite is obviously my own art. I'm joking. My favorite is it's a tough call. Okay. It's a really tough call.
You know what? But I'm gonna have to go with the the Lord Marshal. He looks so good.
I'm going with Blood Flag.
All right, I'm going to join you with Blood Flag. The Lord Marshal is really good, but Blood Flag was just above and beyond. You're right.
Yeah.
Blood Flag was just too good.
Like, Blood Flag was amazing, and I think it goes that Knight, then that Lord Marshal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's our top 3.
Yeah, we had fantastic painters, and I love it. I also love just throwing in random pictures of stuff that I'm bringing to games and everything, because that's what I usually do. I'm like, hey, I'm bringing this stuff to a game. I put it on my table, and I'm just like, I might as well take pictures to see if I can get people in the community to post more.
Let me say that I admire people for putting themselves out there and showing off their minis in a public forum like this. It takes guts. It takes intestinal fortitude to say, okay, here's the thing that I have spent a lot of time and energy working on. Rush says nobody saw the purple orc I put in. He wins. No, seriously though, I respect everybody who puts up a model into our review because it's probably not easy to sit there and listen to 2 strangers critique your work. But so first of all, I admire you for doing it, and secondly, I enjoy seeing all these really cool models that are there's a lot of different ways to interpret how a model looks, and I love seeing how creative you guys are.
And needless to say, at the end of the day, if you're happy with it, it's a good paint job.
Absolutely. Actually, I hope that we get people excited about our let's builds, and I would love to see more models. I know that we built somebody was working on a Gorgon's Talon at one point. I wonder if we'll ever see the finished one of that.
I am working on that captain, but I have been swamped with commissions, so I haven't been able to work on it yet. And I'm just waiting. I have to wait for my buddy who needs to get back to his job so that I can get the custom transfers for it. It's a pain in the butt.
Appreciate you guys joining us here on Lorebeards 40,000. Saturdays is our deep dive lore day, and we will be doing Wednesdays are typically our bonus shows. Typically our bonus shows are things like let's builds or what ifs or who would wins or what's the other one we do?
Tier lists.
Tier lists. Yeah, we also do tier lists
and
on Wednesdays.
Upcoming, and I want to excite you guys for this, but upcoming, we're going to be doing versus matches where we pit 6 characters, one of which the community puts in. So the community gets to choose a character in the Discord. The one that gets the most updates is the one that's going to be a part of it. There is no date for this yet, but I want to excite you guys. This is going to be a very, very much a engage. Like, we need you guys there. You guys are going to determine who wins and give us lore as to how like Sigmar kills the Emperor or how the Emperor banishes Nagash or things like that. We're going to throw in a bunch of different characters, usually around what we assume is the same power level, into a versus match, and it's going to be community driven, and it's going to be a live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I've been putting a good amount of work into it, and I'm excited.
Yeah. It's a passion project for Alexis. I can confirm. She's very excited about it. So you join us for that. But this upcoming Wednesday is a special show because it is a bonus episode, but it is also a deep dive into lore because we are going to be talking about the power of faith. And we're going to be joined by our very own Vera Samila from Lorebeards and Role Playing or Lorebeards Book Club, if you're familiar with either of those two. She's got a really interesting perspective on metaphysics as they apply to 40K. So I thought that having her add her voice to the discussion on faith would be a really good idea. And so join us for that. That's a special Wednesday episode coming up.
Ross, I can't wait until we talk about Demons of the Runestorm and Demons of Chaos, and I get to tell you about quantum mechanics and how demons work.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. But that is it for this episode of Lorebeards 40,000. We have talked a lot about the witch cults. I think we've more or less exhausted the lore on witch cults.
And we didn't come out of this one sad.
That's
like
true.
We did with the Necrons.
Oh, I felt so bad. I was like, man, I actually feel really sorry, and I pity these soulless killing automatons now. Yep. I couldn't believe it.
But remember, everyone, in the grim darkness of the far future,
there is only lore. Thank you so much.
Thank you.